Howdy, folks. Welcome to Courts of Everest, our original D&D campaign. I am Joe Treff, your DM this evening and most, and joining me are my friends Matt, Vincent, Tina, Cara, Hannah, and Alanna. We are going to play D&D tonight, but before we do, a couple of quick announcements. First of all, we played Starfinder last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we always do, and it was a nice session of splitting up and going in many different directions. And there was...
box truck.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was the moving episode.
Torpedo thing.
Yeah, she made loitering munitions. But aside from that, there was some moving of some items. There was some laundromat business. There is a very, very different ending to that session. And so to see that, you can see it when it re-airs on YouTube at noon on Sunday. We have a whole bunch of different ways in which you can follow us. You can see the different things that are on our table, which at the moment is mostly just table, but there are sometimes maps and miniatures and handouts and all kinds of things. Those are over on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky, at AlberonRPG. We also have a Patreon. The Patreon is AlberonRPG as well. There are post-session interviews. There is extra bonus content. There are pictures that are not up anywhere else. There's also now one-shots that you can only see on the Patreon for Alberon After Dark. So those are a little bit more drinking related, a little bit too much for Twitch's taste. And so that is something that you can see carefully hidden behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. We also have Monument Studios music and Sirenscape to thank for the sound that we are doing. And then if you have not had enough role-playing action this week, you can join us tomorrow. I believe at noon.
Yes, sir.
I fumbled so hard on the pronunciation yesterday. Litha? Damn it. Lith. We're about to get lit on Litha.
I mean, pretty much.
You can join us at noon as we play live. This is the 5th, I believe, of the Wheel of the Year, which all fall on all on or around the various pagan holidays. I believe we are at level 8.
11.
11. Jeez, we play a lot of games here.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Well, no, we have an 8 one-shot coming up as well.
You were 9 last time.
That's true.
So that's the one you missed.
I just got to remember that now because I got to level up again. Oh, okay, that's exciting. So,
Do I level up?
you can join
Everyone except for you, sorry.
You can join us for that tomorrow at noon. We have a tremendous number of other one-shots coming up. The Influencers 2 taking place at CorpoCon is coming up. We have Neon Bacchanalia, a parade through the Steel Jungle in our Starfinder universe coming up. We have a lot of things, and you can see more of that on our schedule and over on our Instagram. But that is all the announcements that I have for this week. And so it's time for this week's session of Courts of Everest. And to you, Cara, with the recap.
Wandering Hearts. When last we played, we were finishing up just a quick little catnap in the memory receiver room of the Aussenloch on level 4, the experimental chambers. While Carl Host awaited us outside, being a wonderful, loyal guard, and you hear absolutely no laughter during my recap as everyone is respectfully listening and certainly not off taking pictures anywhere else.
It wasn't me that time.
See them on Patreon.
Anyway. We heard voices, and the knob began to turn as Carl Host opened the door to let us know that the guard patrol had moved on, and the path was free. We had some character and player confusion about where the resonance stone was and where the guards were with said resonance stone, as we all had heard something slightly different, and we had a bit of who's on first.
I imagine all of you kind of lagging out a little bit, and so you guys are just like clipping through the floors into different rooms as you had the discussion.
A little bit.
Once we figured that out, we realized that yes, the resonance stone is with Solarim. We are going to have to talk to Solarim, a scholar in residence of the experimental chambers, behind an infernal door, who may or may not have turned his body into ink. It seems like he has. Anyway, we try to figure out...
May or may not. I think the jury made a decision on that.
Getting there! We debate for a while on whether it is better to wait for the guard patrol to come back and catch them unawares with the resonance stone, or to just go up and sneak past Solarim and get the resonance stone. Minka, again, with her wonderful wisdom, brightness, and brains, decided to cast augury. Divination, to discern whether or not it was a good idea to go, no, wait, maybe we'll be successful if we, Anyway, after discerning the best phrasing for a divination spell so that the DM could not fuck with us, Minka held aloft a mahogany frog and a pearl in offering for the spell, and asked which group we would be more successful in a fight against.
No, just more successful against in general.
Anyway, the frog made its decision, came alive, and rushed forward, indicating that we should go now. And verily, Cheshire and Ori went immediately, and the rest of us kept Carlhouse busy.
The
As
frog
we
said go.
It was a good plan, as we quietly walked behind and let the sneaky people go first. The frog continued to go and led Ori and Cheshire into the third chamber, the infernal chamber, and with a little assistance from our local infernal presence, Rez, Ori, and Cheshire all entered the first chamber of Chamber 3, the Infernal Experimentation Lab, is what I'm calling it, because I cannot remember what the room is actually called.
Just wrote down
The Diablo...
Solarim's,
Solarim's study!
Oh, Diablo Archivum.
That was his project.
That was his...
Yeah.
Oh, but it could also be called the room. So we'll
Also
call
the
it that.
name of that project, yes.
The room that contained the Diablo Archivum! I take notes. Anyway.
Write it down. Not
After
you,
inspecting various infernal projects in progress, all the result of contractual magic, Ori and Cheshire arrive at a final door, behind which lay indeed Solarim, his body made of ink, and under his control the ink ribbon, a demon of ink. Attempting to sneak forward and grab the resonance stone from Solarim ended in disaster, as indeed Solarim is able to see invisible things and has a very high perception check. But thankfully, the rest of the group was right behind and we all rolled initiative.
Yeah, we were gonna...
Discovering the power that contracts can have in magical form, we are assailed by words as they take control of us, restrain us, and hurt us deeply, and make us hurt each other. Mostly Billy. Other people were attacked too.
Billy had a particularly hard day.
Words hurt Billy deeply! But eventually we prevailed against words, because what's better than the pen? Swords. Many swords.
Okay.
That's a lesson for all of you.
Did you say so?
No kings. And eventually, we prevailed over Solarim and his ink body form. Maybe we will see him again.
He's a book.
After using some prestidigitation and mending magic, we cleaned the scene and made it seem like just the ink ribbon went wild and made off with the resonance stone, and in fact tried to convince Carlhouse that indeed the ink ribbon went wild and Solarim was weirdly not there. And after lying about that, we decided to take our alibi with us. And by we, I mean me. He might be useful. We can at least push him in front of danger. We opened the way to level 3 with the resonance stone, where we found pillars who were locking the way forward, and the key were memories. It seemed indeed that the pillars were corrupted with infernal magic, and they would take the memories that were offered. We decided that the best way to move forward would be to put memories in their place of anger, fear, sadness, and joy. Definitely not related to any Pixar movies. We did so, and as Joe narrated the potential boons we could have gotten, and how they were put across the continent to other people, so they're having a great day, we were all assailed by magical energy as a psychic wave blasted us back as part of like the intruder alert system. So we got all of the bad things happen to us and none of the good things. But also, Xoros won't be able to use our own memories against us, so there's that. And as we move further into the Arcana class, that's where we begin our session.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
See why good positive sneaky
feel
music
like
was right? This was the tone.
Positive things would
I think
probably
you matched
be
the
outweighed
mood
by
perfect.
whatever negatives would happen since it's a defensive system.
Oh, sure.
So at the
We'll
moment,
never know.
You can do the recap next time.
it is the 15th of High Sun. You all stand on the top of a staircase that descends straight down. Does not wind down. This is not a curve like the rest of the structure. It is relatively short, only about 25 feet to the bottom, and there it flattens out and you see a doorway on the left. You see stairs further beyond that would lead down to presumably the first floor, but this is entirely encrusted in ice, and this ice, you have seen it before. When you fought the Ice Devil in a previous encounter, the entire floor encrusted in this is even thicker. And there is a black tint to it that reminds you of the glacier that Levistus is bound in. There is something Stygian here. And to the left, you can hear kind of echoes that would hint at an element of hallway. You also see what looks like elements of armor that have been hung almost ceremonially at the bottom of the stairs. What are you all doing?
So tacky.
Remember, Xoros Echre is a powerful spellcasters, and stay near me if you can, because the ancients have blessed me to protect against some magics.
I am Valis' shadow.
Thanks, Alice.
You see a hallway, and presumably the chambers are off to the left. There's stairways that go down to the first floor straight ahead.
Can
But-
I look around the hallway to see? I mean, I know. Oh no, sorry. Alina's gonna be like, Ori, do you see any traps or anything?
Do I see anything suspicious?
Make an investigation check.
Alina knows who gets what task.
You get down to the bottom of the stairs and you creep past this suit of armor. You can see elements of leather, old and kind of almost cracked. Maybe like a historical artifact or something like that. But past that, it is colder. You can feel the air here is quite dry.
18?
And with an 18, you see that within this room, just barely making its way out through some kind of pale light that seems to be a dimmer version of the magical lanterns that you have passed, there is some kind of a mist or a smoke or a fog that kind of evaporates as it makes its way out. You are not quite sure what that might be, but there is something that feels magical to it and certainly dangerous. But more dangerous than that, Ori, as you are looking, you note that the floor here, just gray stone, has been polished to a mirror finish. You can see your reflection in it, for what it's worth. You do not see anything that would constitute a direct trap immediately in front of you. You see there is no door in the doorway. You can just barely make out books in this other room. With that check, you hear movement in the room that is mechanical in nature as well.
There's something mechanical here. The mist. Is the mist? We encountered a mist. Well, I think in the fields of Folly, right? There's a mist there. Is this mist similar, or could it conceivably have similar effects?
I'm just laughing
'cause we've
because
kind
there are
of
probably a
had-
lot of different kinds of magical mist
Right.
like in the world.
Many.
Right, but like
We actually did a whole arc in campaign 1 about it.
right, and so conjuring that, like, also knowing that as we get deeper, the Levistus influence is seemingly growing stronger here.
Certainly.
The worry is this mist is somehow going to affect memory,
That's a fair worry to have.
do something of the sort. But also, is the polishedness of the ground icy? Like
Not
an
here.
icy polish?
No, just
It's
very
just-
reflective.
So
Mirrors are bad news for us though because
right.
our friend is in
Should we
there.
sand the floors down?
Everyone scuff up the floors a bit.
Oh,
Are you doing that?
Always time.
That's a bit. Don't make me commit.
What if we take the barrel of thunderstones and then we just kind of like put a bunch down and then kind of like pop them all?
Isn't that
okay.
bad for us, though?
Let's workshop a little bit. And actually, so I
That's not
remember,
a bad idea. if
Alina's
we're-
gonna be like, "Hey, give me while we talk, give me those papers you got from the office that we were just."
Oh, yeah.
And Alina's, while we kind of start to figure out what we're gonna do, she's gonna start riffling through those papers that are in Infernal.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Look, I'm gonna sit down and study these more later, but I'm just gonna leaf through and see if there's anything about this space. Is there anything about this space?"
Nothing about this space. This is all stuff that speaks of movement and of creating kind of anchor points and of potentially, you actually see a diagram that Minka saved that looks a lot like a portal that you had all closed previously. But these are more diagrams and they speak of elements of ritual, but nothing that's super concrete here.
Valis.
Like the portal we closed in Josh Rogier's crib.
Very similar to the portal that you closed in Josh
Joshy V. Joshy V's place.
Josh.
What were you gonna say?
So she's in the
Alice,
office.
was this here in the memories that you got? This
I don't think
area?
I've ever made it this far into the Arcana class. Is that right, Joe?
You actually made it to that doorway. The door that you are looking at is the one that Xoros just appeared in and touched you, and you were looking at the very space that your memory was taken.
Oh.
You have literally not passed that threshold, but you have walked this far once before.
I've been here before. This is where my memory was taken, but I have not proceeded any further.
Can you remember anything about what you saw or heard? Details.
Can I?
Is the ground...
When you had initially entered, when you had stood at that doorway and you had reported these findings, you had seen this person that looked like Ori, you had seen Xoros, you had seen this person described to you as Diatre Lunsunder. And in that moment, they were all gathered around this long table. And when I say long, like 60, 70 feet long, there is this big pillar that is in front of it. There's like books scattered all across it. This was a room that contained a whole bunch of like kind of more esoteric kind of material, the stuff that the Arcanoclast was directly working on. It was a meeting chamber and a place that also kind of anchored great power. And there was a number of these sort of, not quite thrones, but very large, elaborate stone chairs, slightly recessed and down from the table proper. These were kind of lined up against the wall.
And that is the room that we are looking into right now.
You are like still a couple feet back from it, so you would need to walk closer to be able to look into the room. But yeah,
Oh, in that case, if you're asking me, does this look familiar? I'll walk a couple feet forward and look forward.
would a visual perspective be helpful?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
I imagine
I
us
have
like,
an idea before we.
I imagine us looking down like a stairway into mist, but like, but I don't think that visual is actually correct.
No, so you're
I was imagining like ghostly.
Ah.
There's like a hallway that goes to another set of stairs.
And
But,
that mechanical sound.
there's a small mechanical.
You can't just show me cute pictures like that when we're on stream.
And then that bookcase fell over, but it is standing up.
Damn.
And so you came down
Okay,
those
Spell, they
stairs
really
right
let this
there,
place go.
past that suit of armor, and then now you are walking down this very narrow hallway, and that is the door itself.
Where's
So
the
are
mist
we
start?
looking in here?
So as the mist is kind of licking out from the top of this doorway, as you get closer to that door frame,
Nothing has happened.
Valis,
This
as
is
you
what we're-
peer in, you can see that the mist itself is spreading from this almost much more elaborate looking throne that seems to be crafted out of like viscera. In fact, you've seen something very similar to this before. You can see that the thrones, yes, and the thrones that you had seen previously have now been absorbed by the wall. The wall itself has grown outwards, and in places you can see arms, you can see faces sort of sticking out. The people themselves have almost been absorbed into the stone structure. And you can see there are places where the stone and the biology become almost fused. And here and there they twitch. These are, some of them still perhaps alive, but certainly not aware of what is happening around them. In this moment, this fog just emanates out from where this throne is, so much so that you can't really see past, aside from just outlines, the elements of the sort of like silvery looking altar, perhaps, for lack of a better word. The tea part of the table.
This right here?
Yeah. Oh, let me throw up a little encounter map.
Really
Oh,
dark on their design.
Yeah, so we were trying to wrap our heads around what he was describing here, and that's why he brought up the map.
Is the crystal there?
So that is the ice that is blocking the staircase beyond. There is just this blackened ice that really truly blocks the way. You would need to carve your way through, and it's at least as thick as the space that you can visualize from where you stand. So you would need to truly like dig. Yeah, dynamite is really what you're
presumably
thinking
going
about.
down to the second or to the first floor.
Correct.
Wait,
Are
we on level 3 or level
We're
2
on level
right
2.
now? Okay.
Okay. As we pass by the armor on ice, Minga's gonna look at one of the pieces of armor and see if she can get a similar sense to when, while we were in the Underdark, a room animated against us.
Yeah.
Can I get a sense of?
Make an Arcana check. And Valis, make a perception check as you get to the edge of this doorway. You're able to now look in a way that nobody else has been able to do yet.
And
Could be.
Could be.
Almost everything in this room is an object, and objects can be animated. You've seen Valis do it.
Yeah.
17. And in that, I would like to also ask, are these people that are embedded into the walls, horrifically, my ad, are they the members of the Arcana class?
They are. You can see most of the members. I think also Alanna had called that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, they became.
We're messed
the
up.
Arcana.
Well, we were saying maybe we were going to encounter each of them like dead in their offices, but this is
The-
so much worse.
Arcana
They're alive.
amalgamation.
In their offices, sort of. In a
They
way.
are.
Yeah.
They
Some of
are.
them. Not all of them. Some of
An
them.
attempt at some sort of infernal magics.
Are you hiding members that are
Maybe they
class?
just-
Oh, you hit it so
Soul-
well that even
soul
you
in
can't
case
find it.
Did the memory loom take your memories, Joe?
Damn.
No, I have so many.
Guess we don't have to kill it, and we can just the ice melts.
Yeah, it just happened. It just goes away.
It's a figment of your imagination.
It's like
It's-
when you're
it's
playing
a
a video game and you
popsicle.
accidentally flip a flag a little bit further than where you are, and you walk
You
into a room which
see-
resets.
The source of the mechanical sounds. These individuals similar
No.
to creatures that you have fought.
Wait, are these bad guys?
Yeah.
But like,
Moaning.
are
Do
they
they look-
bad guys, or were they originally good guys that are now turned to bad guys?
We don't know.
It's they're like the constructs
The constructs that.
that we don't hit with force, hopefully.
Oh,
we
that's right.
do
They're all
know.
made with infernal
Oh, I wasn't
iron.
here for that. Okay.
That's right.
The Aussenloch Modrons. These entities are mechanical beings that had fought against you, just unleashing withering just bursts of these force arrows. There are 3 of them that kind of lurk in these corners, and they're in the direction of the door. This feels an awful lot like an ambush, but it has not yet been sprung. Valis, you don't feel especially sneaky right now. So this feels as if they are waiting for you.
Okay. So I'll like, pull my face away from the doorway, and I'll tell the group what I saw. There are 3 more of those tiny robots we fought in the previous room. Seem to be guarding the place, and what's more, I found the members of the Aussenloch that haven't been seen. Xoros has truly been lost. It seems like the members have been absorbed into the walls, and the room is not as I remembered. The table itself seems to be made out of flesh, and I don't think that is not how I remember the room. It is truly infernal in there.
I don't remember a flesh table.
I think they've redone this place.
Xoros spoke to us
Gotta
when the
redecorate it?
memories went in.
They
right?
did.
Shing! You hear Valis draw a sword.
So don't use
Why
force against
would
these
he
guys.
send us down here just to be beset by this?
Are you asking this out loud?
No,
Make an
Ori's
insight check.
wondering like.
As you wonder, I count down my fingers.
Okay.
Billy draws a sword!
Draw
It
the
goes
sword.
like this.
As
Billy casts mirror image! Billy remembers!
I think it's a 20.
as Valis' shadow, can I peek around his shoulders and kind of get a sense of also what's going on in the room?
Make a perception check. 28.
So are you literally like hovering behind
Yeah, if you're trying to peek behind me, I'll like make room for you to peek
With
around.
a 28, you heard Xoros summon you down here just moments ago. They are certainly down here.
19.
Given the fact that they are not visible, there is a condition for that.
Right.
It's called invisibility. They're almost certainly down here somewhere. But where that is, you are not sure. With the 19, you do not see this individual either.
I'm gonna whisper in Valis' ear before you go in. I can maybe slow them down.
I was thinking he was on the first floor.
I can't hear that because you're whispering in Valis' ear.
I think you were wrong.
As well.
Tell the others
but
that
I guess
we will go in when you do so, and I'll be ready.
Looking at this magical sort of fog that obfuscates the area, you get the sense that the source is likely Xoros. They're somewhere in the rear of this room, but where? Likely invisible, perhaps just blocked by some of this terrain. Hard to tell. There is a pillar right in the middle of the space.
I have something, but I need to look it up. But
Sure. Valis begins to count down.
Billy casts mirror image.
Billy casts me in.
I am going to cast a spell. I just need to look it up and make sure I can cast
Okay.
it.
Xoros is in there. Wait.
Wait for what? I stopped counting down.
You hold on to it for a second.
Oh, great, what are we waiting for? We're deciding whether we're fighting or whether we're gonna try negotiating first.
Is he in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you?
Do you want to fight or do you want to talk? Make a decision because we gotta go.
Or it's up to you. Because you would be the one talking. That's why. You have like 30 seconds to decide.
Just back me up. Okay. And I'm gonna walk out.
As he walks out,
into this space.
So much for slow.
can I cast something as he walks out?
Sure.
I'll cast Bless.
You cast Bless.
Bless him.
There is this glowing
like
light that emanates around you, and I believe 2 other creatures of your choice.
I'm gonna cast a higher level.
Okay.
Because I gotta help Ori make his entrance.
He blesses everyone but Ori.
You shroud him in darkness by bringing everybody else up.
With
He's got a
that
cloak for darkness.
minor illusion as well to kind of enhance that, so Ori really truly gets his entrance.
So are you just making him very shiny?
Yeah.
Okay. Ori, you step in.
No.
And as you step in,
No,
it is just like you are stepping
You said
onto
back like
a
up.
disco
anime
floor. You are all of a sudden standing onto like a 2000s boy band
Still
stage.
dim light.
No, no, it is mechanically dim light. Are you casting a spell as well, Alina?
I was going to, but I don't have enough information. Like Alina doesn't, so.
So you cast these minor illusions, you cast Bless, and light does emanate out in a soft glow in the space. You can see the books a little bit better. You can see these mechanical beings pull back on these arrows of force, but they hold them. And in this moment, Ori, you can hear the voice come from somewhere back in this room. And they say, "You have come. Son of the Father. Pact breaker. Failure. End my suffering, or have yours ended."
Answer me this. What is the cause of the prism flu?
You are. And suddenly, everybody can roll for initiative as they cast Maddening Darkness, crossing this entire space into magical darkness. Alina, for you, you close your eyes against this, and as they open, they glare red, and you can see it in this space. But for everybody else, it is quite dark. Even the magic of this bless, even the magic of this minor illusion, immediately just quenched. Though, bless still mechanically very much up. Everybody can go ahead and roll for initiative.
Damn.
Damn.
Oh, damn. All these dams.
As Cara was
damn.
doing the recap, I rolled for initiative.
Oh no.
Did anybody else roll a natural 20?
I got a dirty 20.
Can I tell you, for the two rolls that I made, it was 19 and 20. So
Fuck you, man.
wonderful initiatives. Anybody, 25 to 20. Dirty 20 for
Dirty
Alina.
22.
Okay. 22 for Ori. 22 for Ori, 20 for Alina. We have 20 to 15.
19.
19 for Cheshire, 18 for Billy. And then 15 to 10. Valis.
6.
And then
Same.
Minka or Valis, who's faster?
I would assume Minka.
Yeah.
I would also assume Minka.
That was
I'm a
his
plus
big armor.
three.
He's like clonk,
Yeah.
clonk.
Huh?
So
+3.
I got a plus
0.
0.
there you go. So the way that this works out, Xoros Echre is starting us off with a natural 20 and an initiative of 25. Ori is then going at 22. Then Alina at 20. The Modrons are going at 19. Cheshire is going at 19. Actually, Cheshire's going before the Modrons because they rolled 19 and they have no modifier.
Nice.
And then Billy at 18, Minka at 6, steep drop off after Billy, and then Valis right down there with Minka.
You know, we're trying.
So in the very beginning of this, Xoros casts Maddening Darkness.
Damn.
This
that
huge
sounds
orb
not
of
cool.
darkness just expands, beginning in the space that is right behind you, Ori. This is a 60-foot sphere. And so that is going to expand all the way out
60-foot spear?
Yeah,
Sphere.
I believe, and it's going to be centered on Ori.
Oh,
So
Gonna be
we are
the
putting
majority of the room.
most of this room right to about here in darkness.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Because
And
you can see.
But I can't see him.
Ori, you are now in dim dark. You are in complete darkness as it just swallows up your vision.
Damn.
But you feel your cloak just expand. It is in its most primal state in this moment. Not that anybody could see it.
Damn, that must look real cool.
But this does mean that everybody, including Minka, including Alina, as the darkness expands around corners and over obstacles, can all of you please make wisdom saving throws?
Hate that.
Gladly.
Wisdom saving?
Damn.
This is really important, but where are people actually? Because I think we had some hard
Are
time placing people.
Are
So
we in the room, like all of us, or are we in the hallways?
I assume that you're in the hallway right there.
Yeah.
This is a 60-foot sphere and it spreads around corners
no,
and
no,
over
I
obstacles.
just, that wisdom
So-
save.
so where are people actually in
It is
our
against
line?
the
Like,
magic
are we back to
Billy
back?
I
Yeah, I
would have
think
moved
so.
forward.
Yeah, I think
So yeah,
we're
you
all
guys
in
choose where
line.
you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
We probably all just be.
As close to sharing space
Wisdom.
as
Oh, we love
possible.
those.
Do you think
Yeah.
you're
So
fine
every-
back?
I cast Bless at 4th level.
Okay.
So everyone has Bless.
Very nice.
Thank you.
It's plus
+4.
Plus D4. And also Billy
Saving
and
throw or-
you,
Oh, right.
all right.
Ori, Billy, Cheshire gets also an additional +4.
Have a concentration rate,
shit.
too.
Damn, I'm at like a 30 something.
That's pretty
Your
good.
boys got you.
So, Ori, that is a success.
28.
That is a success. Valis?
Whoa.
21.
Did get nearly close. 21, that is a success.
25.
25, that is a success.
I got you a ring. Hold on.
Billy?
I got you a ring. Hold
Fair
on.
enough, fair enough.
17.
17, that is a failure.
Damn.
Big
Natural
square.
1 for a total
That
of 10.
is a big failure.
33.
That's a success. So nobody really getting close. There, you either fail big or you win big, perhaps about positioning. As the darkness spreads across, all of a sudden in the backs of your ears, and then in the insides of your mouth, and then in the inside hollow parts of your eye sockets, you hear whispering. There is bubbling in the fluid that is underneath the lacrimal ducts of your eyes as voices begin to emanate out. This maddening darkness whispers from within you. You cannot block out these voices. For those of you who failed, you take 36 points of necrotic damage.
Damn.
For those of you, or sorry, psychic damage, halved on a success. And if you failed, these sort of elements of sort of shrieking and whispering begin to sink deeper and deeper into your thoughts. Yes,
Is this a spell?
this is a spell.
Alright, so those that are near me, which is Ori, Cheshire, and Billy, also have resistance to that damage.
Okay.
So you take 9 instead of 18.
Very, very nice. So this darkness spreads, and you would imagine as long as this darkness sort of spreads out around here, you will not be able to see, with the exception really being Alina.
Did you? I think I missed this.
Sure.
What effect happened to the people that failed, other than losing life? Was there one?
Just damage. Yeah, there, you would imagine you probably cannot illuminate things even with magic in this space. But aside from that, not a whole lot, just
This
damage.
is magical darkness.
This is very magical darkness. Extra dark. Magic extra dark.
Ooh, 95% dark.
It's that new vent of
That is their
black.
action. From where they are,
Can't say that.
No, only that one guy.
that is all that they are going to do. That is Xoros' turn. That brings us to Ori.
That's the thing that's gonna fuck me.
Ori, in this room, you are in complete
I'd have to edit that out
darkness.
now.
You hear the mechanical elements begin to whir up as these beings begin to try to track you. What are you
Cool,
doing?
I'm gonna move.
Okay.
Fly 40 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah, right on the edge of the magical darkness.
Unfortunate.
Wait, no, that doesn't make sense because it's centered on me, so it should be 30 feet out from me.
Oh,
And I
60
can move
feet.
40
60
feet.
60
60
feet
feet.
sphere.
60-foot sphere
60
centered on
radius
me.
Sphere is
Oh, it's a 60-foot radius sphere.
That's a big guy.
Oh, so it's 120 feet across, actually.
can't
Okay,
even get out.
then yeah. Well, I can't unless I
There's no.
bonus
They're
action
walls.
dodge.
There are walls.
which-
Yeah, you can.
Just
You're a dashing
this
young
high
fellow.
up. The room this high up.
You can't really see, but when you stepped in and kind of glanced up, it was about 45 feet up to the ceiling.
Okay, cool. I am going to. Shit. I guess. Bonus action.
Like right here?
I think bonus action hide in the darkness here from at least the Modrons.
Okay.
No, you know what? Fuck it. Bonus action dash.
Okay.
I'm coming up to get out of the mist. Do I see where fucking
With your passive perception, you do not see them.
I am going to ready my action
Okay.
when Xoros or anything makes any sort of attempt, magical or physical, to interact with me.
Mhm.
I'm going to attack.
Okay. So if a creature comes and tries to magically or physically heal you, you're striking them.
With the exceptions being
Fair enough. If the enemy makes its way out of the darkness in a hostile manner, you will attack.
I am on high alert.
That is your turn.
Ready
Ori.
action being on high alert. To,
That brings us to Alina. Cheshire, you're on deck.
Oy, all right. Well, I'm gonna just kind of charge in. We can move through friendly spaces.
Yeah,
right?
you can. And especially in the
It's like-
darkness, you're just like
We're not
ram
friends.
horming straight through people. You slam them into the sides of the wall as you make your way through.
Of all the people to be able to see in magical darkness, the one with hooves is the best one.
Yeah.
6. So can I see the like? Well, I guess.
You can see everything.
Do I know where Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting that this is not. Okay.
This line is just everything beyond this line is darkness.
Yeah.
Magic
Can
darkness.
I tell that beyond this line, other people would be able to see?
You can see Ori looking around in that space, and so that
Okay,
would tell
so-
you, yeah.
All right. So, as I enter the room, I'm gonna call over my shoulder. Straight ahead as you enter the room, and I'm like, there's table in the middle, and if you just keep moving, you'll exit the darkness. That was 6 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And then
Watch out for the robots.
Oh yeah, and there's robots.
I already told you guys about the robots.
Anything else?
Alina seems to have forgotten.
So I know Xoros is in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Can I don't know, use like some arcane sense rolling to see if I can tell where.
You can make a perception check. You have a good sense that they're invisible, so
Yeah.
you're looking at an incredibly high DC, but you might be able to see the signs of them around. That's
Yeah.
an action.
Okay, can I have advantage because I can see in magical darkness?
No.
Fuck it, we tried. Good try. Oh, okay. Perception?
Yeah.
You have the capability of making the check because of being able to see in magical
Yeah, I
darkness.
understand.
But you gotta ask, man.
This,
Yeah,
this
no.
isn't. Listen, no, it's us.
If the
Perception.
invisibility is
17.
an effect of
17,
magical
you are
darkness.
unable to see this person. You look around, you can see these Modrons, you can see some of these corpses just twitching up against the wall. You can see many of these books, some of the pages like turn on their own accord. There is stuff that is unnatural in this room. And all across the space, you can feel this otherworldly chill, but aside from that, no Xoros.
All right. So Alina's gonna say one more thing. He's in here somewhere. I don't know where. And then, how high are the ceilings?
45 feet.
Using her, well, I guess. As a bonus action, I'm just gonna activate the flight. I can't go anywhere right now, but
Okay.
it's active now.
No problem. You activate flight as a bonus action, and you look up, ready to fly.
I can go up
That
there.
is your turn. That brings us to Cheshire.
So as Cheshire was like piggybacking on Valis and looking in, it was preparing to cast slow.
Okay.
So that is what I'm going to finish. And her original intention was to catch. That.
Very nice. Okay. So you, in the darkness, as Alina kind of calls everything out, that reaffirms the picture that you hold in your mind's eye, and you throw slow, centered on this table. It spreads out across the space, and Ori, you can see the darkness around you, this like kind of spherical wall of this cloudy smoke suddenly begins to like ripple a little bit more
I'm kind
slowly.
of picturing, you remember those like tubes of glitter?
Yes, very much like that. Yeah, but like
a
dark.
very
Yeah,
dark one,
1,000%. That's what you're seeing, and then it just slows all around you.
So
What kind of
that's a
saving
wisdom
throw?
saving throw.
Wisdom
or anything
save.
in
It's
the
all
cube.
swooshing around, and then suddenly it's not swooshing anymore.
Pretty good overall. We have 3 saving throws
Just
there.
did the, like,
The lowest one is not good. That is a 2. But aside from that, we got a 20 and a 23.
Yeah, that was succeed.
So 2 of these creatures, they seem to be able to shrug this off, but in the darkness, one of those 3 Modrons, and just for ring-keeping purposes, the triangular one, is slowed.
And then kind of detaching myself from Valis a little bit and moving to the
Oh,
other
man.
side.
As you step closer and closer to that ice, it is getting cold. It is freezing, almost to a painful degree as you get down that hallway.
I'm
But
not
you
like
stand there.
it's just outside the door.
Yeah. It's still like every step that you take is remarkably colder.
I don't like that.
But that is your turn, Cheshire.
Yep.
All right. That brings us to the Modrons. So first, the one that is slowed, it's not fast to begin with.
Slowing.
It's slower now.
1.
Excuse me. It is going to make its full movement out of the darkness.
It has less movement.
I know. That was it.
Because like this would be the moment to use the
Oh wait, can they not see either?
They can see.
Oh man.
But you don't know that.
first thing. I was like, oh, I can use it to someone else.
So in
Oh, man.
slow motion, one of them begins to move. They like dash, kind of going slow across this darkened hallway. The other 2 seem to use this table almost as a brace, and seeing Alina make their way into the space and begin to kick off the ground, they draw these force arrows, and Alina, you are going to be taking 8 attacks.
8?
Yes.
That's too many.
Unfortunately, that's the number.
Welcome to the Modrons.
The Modrons suck. So
Yeah, and I was like, here I am in the room!
this arcane bow, yeah, you like called it out. 1 natural 20.
Silver barbs, fuck that.
Silver barbs. Are you standing out of the door?
She said she was
On the other
peeking
side,
in.
just
Peeking in? Okay. Still not bad. Okay, so on the lower end of things here, we have a 12 to hit.
Nope.
Then we have a 14 to hit.
Nope.
And then we have a 21 to hit.
Yep.
And a 22. So those 2 hit at the very end. These arrows of force are first going to deal. The first one is 10 points of force damage piercing damage plus 8 points of force damage. And the second one is going to be 10 points of piercing damage plus 5 points of force damage. Only 2 of those hit you. It is not enough to provoke you to fall backwards or fly. The second set of attacks. Oh, that's just hot garbage.
Oh no.
That's
sorry
so
to
I
hear
rolled
that.
I rolled 3 6s.
Hey.
So that is going to be 12s, which I'll miss, and then 1 is going to be a 25 to hit.
Yeah.
And so that is going to be 10 points of piercing damage plus 8 points of force. And with that third strike, taking 3 of these arcane bow shots in a row, please make a strength saving throw.
Is this against a spell?
It is not.
12.
You are pushed back only 5 feet, but you just, with these kind of onslaught of arrows, they hit you once and again, and you are just, your hooves scrape against stone as you are pushed. That is all of their attacks. That is all of the Modrons. That brings us to Billy. Minka, you are on deck.
Cheshire?
Cheshire already went.
Oh yeah, Cheshire good. Oh,
Cheshire
that
is
was
slow.
the Modrons.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, I mean I'll go again if you want. Billy. I mean, if you want to cast another slow, please. Running low on those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Billy kind of like looks over at Alina and's like, I need some help. Where are they? Hoping that Alina just points.
I mean, I do, but I don't know if I have to wait until my next turn.
You can just point. That's easy enough.
Cool.
Wait, isn't that also dark?
It is, but I think that close, you can just kind of
like
feel like
direction.
it almost hits you
directional.
like in the neck as like Alina gestures out.
And so Billy is going to position herself facing the way that Alina like gestured.
Okay.
And then I just have to quickly read how far I can go and how far Billy would think to go. Cool.
In the dark, you grab Alina's arm, feeling your way towards the enemy like roommates.
Ooh, we talked about this stuff.
And your friend Sappho.
Platonically roommates.
I'm wearing my shirt that says, and they were roommates.
Yeah, I know. It was really perfect.
Happy Pride Month.
Well, yeah. We've got multiple pride shirts to get through.
And Billy can't see, so I'm guessing disadvantage.
Disadvantage indeed.
All right, we are going to swing with some disadvantage.
You
and
rush like straight forward, and as you do, you run
I
straight into
misty
this.
stepped.
Oh, you misty step.
Misty Step.
I said, point me in the direction, and then Misty stepped the full amount
Oh, I love that.
and prayed. And I'm in a fine position. It's not the worst. I mean, I've had better attacks though. First one's gonna be a 16.
That is a miss.
Figure. How about a 17?
That's also a miss.
Great. I rolled a 4 and a 19 on the second one, and a 3 and a 17 on the first one.
You
and it
stitch
hurts
through
so
this
bad.
space. You use 17 and 19 sword work, but in the darkness, it is in the wrong direction.
Yep.
And you just, it's 1,000 attacks into nothing.
Yep.
Anything else, Billy?
No, it sounds real cool though.
It does. But that is your turn, making swishes. That brings us to Mika.
Dread
Valis, you
Pirate
are on
Robert's
deck at the very end of time.
I have questions.
Yes.
All 6
For
seconds.
the purposes of locate creature.
Yeah.
How familiar are we talking? We know his full name.
Yeah.
We know what his like ambitions are, but we don't know him.
Correct.
So
Let me just pull up that spell really quick.
it's only a 4th level spell, so I'm not expecting.
Is describe or name a creature that is familiar to you. I think that you are familiar enough that this would work.
Okay.
Nice.
Because the component that is listed from like a lore perspective is a bit of fur from like a bloodhound, so it seems like something that like familiar, you are aware of them, and I think that's enough.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm so glad I actually brought this because it's been sitting in my pocket for so long, and I'm just like, do we?
Shit.
They coming in with the big spells. Big spells.
I'm gonna walk in, and it's dark in here. Can't see anything, but the awareness from a spell like Locate Creature is not like a sight thing. It is like a sensation.
Correct.
So even though
You sense the direction to the creature's location, as long as it is within 1,000 feet of you, and it is. They are not moving. They seem to be biding their time directly at the edge, right beyond that silver altar, very much just like standing at the other side of the altar, is Xoros Echre.
What a surprising place for him to be.
So I am now concentrating. May I have a concentration then, please?
Yeah. We all concentrating so hard.
There's a lot of This is a study session right now.
We are officially out of concentration rings now.
Nobody else can concentrate.
There's a mage somewhere who's trying to do some kind of a concentration spell. It's just not working anywhere else in Alberon.
Let's see. So I will also channel the archer for now, and I can't see shit.
You're channeling the archer.
No, I'm gonna channel dragon.
Okay.
I'm gonna channel dragon.
Mika, in this place,
I
it is
glow
pitch
and
black.
Yeah.
And you expect not to glow at all. But in this moment, in the complete darkness, you see in vivid light these stars, but they shed light on nothing else. It is still like you are in inky darkness. And from somewhere far away, you feel watched. And when you look around, you are seeing far more than the constellation of this dragon. You are seeing endless points of stars. What are you doing?
So she casts a spell, she does that, and she kind of goes, and then she turns to where she passed by Alanna on the way in.
Hello.
And she'll like.
Alina's head is like mostly
Actually-
off.
You know what? What I'll do is.
So your head is mostly off.
yeah, because I took a lot of
So
hits.
yeah, what I was going to do was cast something on. Oh yeah, I remember I can't. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I will take my bonus action, and I won't actually. I was gonna cast it on fucking more stones, but I think I need more stones. I think I may have broken all the stones in my pocket. Okay, so I'm just gonna have a dragon channeled.
Okay.
To hold the concentration better. I will not say where Xoros is yet, mostly because he's kind of in a thematically obvious spot to Minka.
Sure.
And so she's like, there's no point in like tipping the hand that this is happening. So I will instead just be confuzzled about what's happening.
So Minka, very classic intelligence play. When you have intelligence, you sit on it. And for you, it's less about like, oh, like trained in operations and more just like, I'm not really sure what's happening right now.
Yeah, she kind of stun locked.
Anything else, Minka?
No.
All right, you stun lock yourself. I feel it brings us
over there.
to Valis. Valis, you counted down, you cast Bless, and before you could even take a step into the room is filled with darkness. Alanna shoves by, Minka shoves by, Ori shoves by. You are finding yourself familiarly sort of left behind. But here in this darkness, what are you doing?
Such one little like Cheshire arm.
I will stride forward, probably bumping into the wall at least twice.
Yeah.
One,
Part of it is
two.
like Cheshire tugs you back.
4. I will be about here. And I am gonna close my eyes. It doesn't really matter, but magic. I'm gonna close my eyes and cast Divine Sense.
Okay.
So 60 feet.
Damn, everyone can sense.
Celestial Fiend Undead within 60
Some of us
feet.
just need to be
That not behind total cover. Since I can't see shit anyways.
Proprioception.
And you're standing right there.
Yeah. Well, hold on. How much cover is this pillar?
It's total cover. So you go up to the
Probably.
side,
I'll probably walk to the side then.
So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You can see all the way to the end of that hallway. And as you do this, you can see suddenly in front of this throne, there is a fiendish figure standing right there. There is certainly a fiend, but you do not visually see them. It is just this invisible entity. Yeah.
Here.
No, other side of the thing.
Here.
Right.
In the obvious place.
In the space that everybody's identified verbally.
In the thematically obvious location.
Okay.
Minka has not told anybody, but other people have.
Well, now I can sense him, and until the end of my next turn, I know that he is there, and that is my turn.
Fantastic.
Actually, I'll say something to the group. I'm over here if you want to, hang out and be close to me, but like cooler.
but like slick.
Malice, not the
Okay, I'll probably actually say, stay near me to ward against the spells and I'll say that out loud in case anyone wants to just hang out near me.
Okay.
And I think you hear behind me a quiet, and Minka just didn't realize you walked
Oh, you probably realize. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty clanky.
I don't know, Minka's kind of having a moment right now. There's a lot happening.
There is. And in this moment, as you say that at the end of your turn, Xoros from the other side of the room says, and they will use a legendary action to use Cold Step and teleport up to 30 feet away. In the space that is right there, there is a brief swirl of ice, and so if you want, you can make an attack roll. They are still invisible, and so it is still at disadvantage.
Would it be... No, never mind.
Flat roll.
Whoa!
That's a natural 20.
Hey!
And I'm using the dagger, or the shooting stars, so he's blinded.
Very nice.
Wow.
Wait a minute, I can't see either. This one is still
Everybody's
I've been
attacking
doing this
flat.
to people.
Let me check what the text of the shooting star, because this is the first time that I've gotten a natural 20 with these, which is pretty good timing for it.
It would be really funny.
On a critical hit, the target is blinded at the end of its turn, must make a DC 15 con save to end the effect.
Okay.
Nice.
So you
No one see, no
hit
nothing.
this creature, the ice explodes in this area, and you get the sense that if you had been closer to this individual, you would have taken shards of ice into your skin. But they appear fully and visibly to you, Alina, as they teleport 30 feet away and a little bit closer to Valis. But you can see as they appear, they are no longer invisible, and you can see around their neck this drow. First of all, this drow, like dark skin, you can see very almost unnervingly calm eyes. And where the Aussenloch robes are, they are split and torn all the way down to their belly, and there is a gaping hole in their chest. The heart literally missing. You can see there is just blood that slowly pumps and oozes in the place of where that should be. And they have around their neck this chain that on it has a pendant that is in the shape of an eye, and Ori, your dagger, straight into this eye. The eye is cracked, and this magical item that had enabled Xoros to be invisible, now broken. They are also going to have to make a concentration saving throw.
And it was a... Oh, and it's at
much
disadvantage,
damage is that?
I believe, because of my Mage Slayer.
Yes, it is.
Look at this guy.
Look at this guy.
What was damage?
Damage was 21 points of magical piercing damage.
With 21 points of magical piercing damage all around you, the darkness ends. The whispering goes away, and Ori, you have broken the spell.
Your wish.
That is their legendary action. But in that moment, for just a second, their eyes regard you, Valis, and they say, I will deal with you in a moment. And they turn, and their full attention now focused on you, Ori. That is their legendary action at the end of Ori's turn. Sorry, at the end of Ori's reaction to his reaction. It's still his turn.
Well, no, it wasn't my reaction. That was my
That's
ready
right.
action.
That was his legendary action at the end of whose turn?
Valis.
Valis' turn. Fantastic. We're back up to the top of the round. It's Xoros' turn.
Billy just like
This
puts
is-
in a giant
this is-
hole and it's like,
yeah.
oh,
If I can survive this attack, that'll be cool.
He is
Xoros
blind.
regains. He is blind. And for what it's worth, that actually does seem to take full effect. They do not seem to be using their eyes to perceive in this moment, but they are blinded, and so anything that requires sight will be at disadvantage. They, now with their attention more fully on you, Ori, first, they are going to fully turn their body towards you and speak in Infernal. And for those of you who can understand it, they say, I curse you with the withering cold. And Ori, can you make a Constitution saving throw, please?
Is that a spell?
It is.
Counterspell.
Oh, nice.
At 5th level, I hope it works.
Sorry, this is a bonus action, not a spell.
Oh, spells can be
It,
bonus
yeah, but it's
actions?
not a bonus action spell. It's a bonus action ability. It comes from the Infernal connection they have.
what'd you get?
My boy's on fire.
Phenomenal. In this moment, you suddenly feel, for just a minute, the cold sinks in even deeper. You feel as if you are suddenly stripped of any protection from cold that you have innately, and then it restores. You are not vulnerable to cold damage, and you take no additional cold damage in this moment. That is their bonus action. Then, as an action, because you have behaved so poorly,
Yeah, Ori, come on.
Ori's been a bad boy.
Silence for the library!
they are going to gesture up towards the ceiling. And in the elements and recessed spaces, you can see little bits of stone suddenly shift and change from what they were, and elements of light begin to shine down as these illusions end, and you see these blazing orbs of ice that just hang up above. This is going to be... How many spheres do I get? 4. Where's my spell template? This will work.
Which one?
Okay. 40-foot radius. This is a spell.
Okay.
Oh, counterspell.
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 At what level? Okay. So go ahead and make your check for that. This is at 9th level.
Primed and ready. So it's
Ninth
DC is
level.
10. And it's using
Damn.
18.
Oh,
Wait, you're
unfortunate.
blessed.
Oh! 19.
That is a means of In this moment, as they attempt to cast a Stygian version of Meteor Swarm, dropping 4 of these massive things, each of which would be like 2 fireballs. This just fizzles out, and you see it shifts and disappears, and there are now just 4 10-foot wide recesses in the ceiling. They turn and now change their directionality back towards you for a second, Alina. This is frustrating for them. And you can see they grit their teeth and they scowl, but that is their action, that is their bonus action, and that is the end of their turn. That brings us to Ori.
I'm closing the gap, flying right up to him.
All right, you fly over top all of these creatures.
I'm
You can
gonna
see
be
the
like
Modrons
5
looking
feet
up
off
above
the
you.
ground, but
Only 5 feet off the
well,
ground?
I have to land, so I'm gonna
You could bounce.
land, and yeah, I'm gonna land.
How far up are you flying? Because there are other creatures that could potentially take attacks of opportunity if you're 5 feet off the ground.
From 5 feet off the ground? No, I'm touching the ground now because I have to land to be able to attack.
So are you flying to get to where you are landing?
I'm kind of just getting over the table to be like
Okay,
that.
so that does provoke 1 attack of opportunity from that guy in the corner?
This guy?
Yeah.
Well, no, because I was up here to start, so I'm just kind of flying down.
When you say up here with your finger,
Sorry,
that doesn't do
I was-
anything for me.
I was like,
How high up were
How
you?
high? Like how
Yeah,
many
that's
feet?
this is the question that I've been
oh,
asking.
sorry, like 15 feet
Okay,
up here.
cool. That's all I need.
There it is.
So you fly, you're 15 feet up, you fly across, and then you land. Easy enough. All I wanted.
Yeah. And then I am going to bonus action insightful fighting on Xoros.
Okay.
And-
Deception check?
Yes. Contested checks.
32.
I believe. Oh, plus bless.
Plus bless.
Do I
That's
get
a
the
good
plus
bless.
4 as well?
For what?
For...
Saving throws.
No,
Oh,
saving
just
throws.
saving throws.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. 33.
33. Hang on. What did I roll? Give me 1 second. This is 18 is 32. Yeah, so there you go. You do not need advantage on this individual. You can see in this moment where they have positioned themselves. They were keenly confident, and then Alina counterspelled a 9th level spell from them. That was unexpected.
Cool.
Justicars, bitch!
And then, free action, I'm going to say, allow me to end your suffering, and I'm going to attack.
Free action taunt.
Free action truth telling.
And I don't have
That's true.
advantage, but I can still make the sneak attack roll if I hit. Ooh, nice. I believe that's gonna be a 27.
That is a hit. So go ahead, roll sneak attack damage on that.
And I'm gonna make it, I believe, a trip attack.
Okay.
Which I believe is a strength save.
I think they're gonna fail that trip attack.
Maybe not prone. DC 18.
Yeah, they fail that trip attack.
Not prone. Sneak attack is gonna be. Ooh, numbers.
Crochet, Jesus. Matt rolls so many dice, we have to occupy ourselves.
Sorry.
Anyone have agreed with the other
Dang,
ones that I was-
that's a good numbers.
The cult needs more.
49 points of magical
Whoa!
piercing damage, and
Very
he's not
nice.
prone.
49 points of magical piercing damage. It does the full
Knock him
amount that
down!
you would
Knock
expect.
him down! Yeah! Fuck you!
He is knocked prone in this moment. That force from this blow as you close the distance and then attack knocks them to the ground.
I'm so tempted to, so I think I'm gonna make action surge second attack.
Go for it. So you
Now
use
is the
action
time.
surge in this moment.
And
Adrenaline
it's at
surges
advantage
into you.
because
They're prone.
They're prone. So,
As they say. Get him.
that's gonna be a 24 to hit.
24 is going to hit as well. With these hits, you can see as the damage sinks in, it is almost like the blood that emanates from out of these wounds freezes as it does so, almost instantly forming these crystals of ice that emanate out from these stab wounds, like icicles or like radiating explosions.
Still pretty good. 22 points of magical piercing.
How much?
22.
22 points of magical piercing damage. They're looking kind of hurt.
And that is it for me. Free action will say. I'm sorry about Padme, but please don't let it happen with my sister.
You attack them. You say this, and at the end of your turn, as a legendary action, they will use 2 of their legendary actions to look up at you. And as you say, "Let me end your suffering," they say, "If only you could." And the magical blood that has frozen out fires out as an explosion towards you.
Is it magic?
It is not. This is a legendary action. When hit by a melee attack, retaliate with a burst of frost. Can you make a dex saving throw, please? You're good at those.
Yeah, I'm good at this.
That's a D4.
Plus a D4.
I don't know vaccines.
Saves. Right?
Yeah.
Dex
Gosha is going to be so upset.
28.
With a 28, that is a success. You take 20 points of cold damage, half to 10. As this just flies out, you get the sense that you would have been pushed back by these elements of ice, probably all the way over that table. But in this moment, you are able to dodge. That is your turn. That brings us to Alina.
All right. Now that he's occupied, Alina's going to fly like up and diagonal just to kind of get into like the corner.
Okay.
And
The flight things are mostly around here.
and then she's
This corner here?
gonna like here, so I can still see everything just a little further away. That's like 5 feet away. It's okay. I just realized. And then she is going to use her waistcoat to cast heal on herself because she's not looking good.
You touch one of these buttons of the stags that is not the undead-looking one, and heal emanates out from you. It is like these cycles of seasons reversed for just a moment, and healing floods back in. You are up in this space, and you can see the entire battlefield below you. You can see Billy now beset by 2 of these creatures. You can see Ori stabbing down into Xoros. There is chaos sort of unfolding here, but at least the darkness is gone. Is there anything else that you want to do?
Bah!
Free action.
Is there a
That brings us to Cheshire.
Oh no, someone got polymorphed.
Maybe don't die this time.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, you maintain the slow on this mode run. You kind of peek in, give some advice, some inspiring advice to Valis, and that is your turn.
Right,
That brings
dying
us
sucks.
to
I shouldn't do that again.
Actually, at the end of your turn, Xoros is going to use their final legendary action to cold step the fuck out of there.
Not even
And that will deal damage to Ori, but
What is this?
Cold step.
Cold step, is that a spell?
It's an ability. It sounds like it's
That's a legendary action.
a Stygian Misty Step.
How much damage
It's
do I
like
take?
thunder.
so Ori, when they cold step, they teleport in a swirl of ice, and you take
Do I get?
You don't. You take 6 points of cold damage as they just disappear, leaving this frigid space in their wake. That is their legendary action, though, at the end of Cheshire's turn. That brings us to the Modrons.
Does he have to see where he's going to do
He does
that?
not.
Ah.
Oh, he does get to make the save
Against being
against
blinded.
being blinded at the end.
Oh yeah, at the end of his turn.
Unanimous.
What kind of save?
It is a Constitution save.
18.
I believe that is a success.
The
Yeah, it was.
number was 15.
So they are able to regain their sight as they burst away. It is like they can clear this sightlessness from their eyes. However, that is their legendary action. This does bring us to the Modrons. So, Billy,
Hi.
you're not in the best place.
Nope. That's what happens when you can't see.
They're gonna go right up next to you, so you can be in the least best place. And this guy who is slowed is gonna
Slow John.
be 5 feet right here.
Copyright.
And Ori, they are going to make an attack. And they wind up. You get ready for this hail of attacks, but slowly they just pull this one force arrow out. Slowly they knock it, and they make just a single attack. Ori does a 24 hit.
Fucking yeah. I'm like,
Great.
oh, that's not gonna hurt me. I'm gonna focus on this. Oh!
You take only 6 points of piercing damage, but 8 points of force damage. That is the slowed one. Really, these other 2 close in next to you.
Oh boy.
And in this moment, they are going to make 2 force punches each. The first one, and they are flanking you, so they do have advantage.
Yeah, they do.
Sub 50%.
Billy, first one is going to be a 25 to hit.
That hits Bailey.
Billy, you are
No, it
taking
doesn't.
8
It hits a duplicate.
duplicate. Gets bursted. Second one
That's first.
is going to be 26 to hit.
Duplicate.
Duplicate is bursted. Then the other Modron swings. Billy's just vanishing left and right. That is only going to be an 18 to hit.
That hits Billy.
Billy, you are taking a shot from one of these creatures, and it's a good one. That is 11 points of bludgeoning damage, as well as
Ow.
3 points of force damage.
Still, every little bit counts.
And then the final attack. Billy, a natural 20.
That.
Hits Billy.
Dear God, for the love, please don't.
Silver
Silver barbs.
20 to hit. Unnatural 20.
Take that over a crit.
Final duplicate is gone.
So, Billy, you just watch these things swing. There is just this burst of force energy release with every punch, and these Billies explode one after the other, until it is just you left. At first, it was like 5 on 2. Now the tides have turned.
Billy is so bloodied out. It's still bad.
Yeah. That is all of the Modrons, however. You have managed to tank them for another round that does bring us to you.
You're welcome. This sucks so much. Slash. That's a natural 20 for the first one.
That hits.
And a 19 for the second one.
The 19 is a miss.
Damn.
The natural 20, of course, a hit. Go ahead and roll damage for that.
Once more, I did not expect any zero damage, and I wasn't ready for the damage.
We're gonna get demonetized. That's a trademark song.
So sorry. So that is 16, 17 points of magical. No, sorry. 14. 24 points of magical piercing. 4 points of lightning. 4 of the magical piercing is added to my AC.
Okay.
And that's the first attack.
Very nice.
And also the last attack because I just remembered the second attack did
That's
not
true.
hit. So
But this one hits hard. It does the full amount of damage that you would expect. Anything else, Billy?
bonus action, healing word.
You heal yourself just a little bit.
This fucking sucks.
That is your turn. That brings us to Minka. Valis, you are on deck.
Okay. So the tides have turntabled a little bit since my last turn.
You found him.
We found him. Yeah, so I don't necessarily need to hold this anymore, but I will until I get a reason to not.
Okay.
Just in case. I don't know. Things get weird.
Sure.
Let's see.
Think about Sir Tiny Dancer.
Okay. So here, I unfortunately can't get close enough to heal Billy in the way I wanted to. What I can do is, so I am going to also healing word. I will actually healing word Alina at the first level.
Okay.
Actually, pause. Chalice first, healing word Alina at first level, and then I will like to chalice Billy.
Okay, so you shift
Order
your
of
form
operations.
from the dragon to the chalice, and as the stars realign and you are in a space, we're now right back in this room, a place that is at least more familiar to you than where you were in the darkness. You shift into the familiar chalice form and you pour some healing out.
So, that is a total of 9 damage.
9 damage?
9 points healed.
There you go.
And then for Billy, it is going to be 11 points healed.
Very nice.
So that was my bonus action. Beep. And then for my action,
What you doing? You have a leader
So-
floating above you.
Xoros is.
They're currently down and by the throne.
Okay, they're on the floor still.
Yeah, that would be a tough shot. You probably can't even see them.
Still prone.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was gonna like
It
study
doesn't
him.
get them back on their feet, unfortunately.
But unfortunately, he's like on the floor, so I can't really see him.
Study the air.
I was gonna study him, but unfortunately, I can't. There are people in the walls, right?
There are. You can see embedded into the stone, the flesh melds in painful looking, almost knots.
Okay. I would like to. I'm gonna take in the room, and I'm gonna think to myself and look directly at the people in the walls and see if I can discern whether or not they are somehow contributing to some sort of like spell in this room
Sure.
or ritual.
Absolutely.
Based off of my very direct knowledge of running into things.
Make an Arcana check.
Does that count for bless? Does bless count on that? No,
No.
right?
No, not
That
skill
is-
checks.
It is actions and guidance is.
Attacks and ability and
Yeah.
saving throws.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's a total of 14.
Could be. There's a lot of things happening in this room that speak of perhaps rituals or something awful.
Yeah.
But what specifically that is, hard to tell.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my action, my bonus action, and my movement. And that's all I can do.
Okay. You look around, and I would say with a 14, the only thing that you can really tell about what is going on here, beyond being like awful, is that there is something that maybe you aren't quite seeing, or maybe something that is no longer here. But something seems to have been changed in the very recent past. What that could be, what that might mean, hard to tell.
Right.
But that is your turn. That brings us to Valis.
All right, I am going to move up 25 feet, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then phase step 30 feet right next to Xoros.
Okay.
And let's see. Let me just mark that out before I forget. And as I stride up and appear before Xoros, I will yell at him. Xoros, your dealings with the Infernals have made you a fiend yourself. You will deal with me now, and I will attack him twice.
Okay.
That's a good
At
line.
advantage because he's prone.
Yep.
At advantage, because he's prone.
Man's little.
Oh, man.
You got an inspiration from
You have an
Cheshire, too.
inspiration too.
Whoa.
It's a Friday
what
the
did that do?
13th. No.
Damn. 22?
22 is a hit.
Okay. I will smite.
Nice.
Because that's what we're here to do. I will smite at 3rd level. Is he a fiend for the purpose of adding more damage to the smite?
Is.
He mechanically became a fiend too.
Wow.
Damn.
Not only changing
Wait, that's
your
not
alignment,
D8.
going full bore.
Alright, so that is 13 magical slashing.
Okay.
And then... Damn, that's a terrible roll.
No.
10.
Lower the line, the more terrible your roll.
Yep, it's like a
I
rule.
don't know.
karma.
I got like 49 damage on my cool line.
That was
16 radiant.
That's true.
16 points of radiant damage, which does the full amount that you'd expect, not more.
Yours isn't cool too.
Anything else?
Yeah. Second attack.
Right.
Numbies.
They're looking hurt. After that last attack, you can see on the ground already, having taken that critical hit from Ori, their amulet broken around their neck. They are not looking in good shape. And you can see they are missing their heart. The worst wound that they have suffered in this battle was well before you all arrived.
27 to hit.
27 hits as well.
I will smite again
Okay.
at 3rd level. So I can roll lots of dice. That is much better. So that will be 12 magical slashing.
Okay.
And then 20, 32. 32 radiant.
32 points of radiant damage. Valis, this guy is looking rough. You can see as you strike them, you plunge this sword straight into their chest, and if they had a heart, they would almost certainly be dead. It pierces straight through the space. It goes straight through their spinal column, and you hear the bones snap, but they are still alive.
I feel like that would be a point where they would start laughing.
There's
And
no
that
sound
hilarious.
that comes
Yeah,
out
it's the
from
guy
this
attacking going
individual.
nuts.
Anything else, Valis?
That'll be it for me today,
All
Joe.
right, that is it for you. That brings us to the top of the round and to Xoros, who regains all of their legendary actions, which have been so much more helpful.
He's just chilling.
We have a second health bar to start
Get it?
contending with.
Oh no.
Final form.
Okay.
Now he has spikes
So
in
he
his
will
back,
stand
and for some
up.
reason still no wings.
Half his movement speed.
The greatest design is
But he can't really move anywhere here.
Why does the bird god not have wings?
Birds aren't real.
And he is going to upcast to the 7th level. No, sorry, to the 6th level.
Damn.
Of Cold.
That would be
Counterspell.
cool to-
I'm feeling
Counterspell.
spicy.
Go ahead, make your check.
Spell counter.
sorry, so it's 10 plus
17 is the DC.
18.
There you go. So again,
Nice.
they reach out, and you can see around the edges of their fingertips, right in your face, Valis. There are elements of this magic that coalesce, and right before the cone of cold bursts in your face, from behind your shoulder, from across the room, Alina throws this counterspell, and these two forces meet right in front of you, and there is just this eruption of magic. Valis, you're almost thrown off your feet. This individual almost thrown off their feet as they are right there, but you counterspell their 7th level spell after their 9th level spell. Very nice. And they are going to, as a bonus action, look at you, Valis, and they will say, "You may end me yet, but I am not done." And they become ethereal. You can see almost ghost-like, and then the space around them becomes almost like frost glass, like these little shards of almost like panes in the windows that become faceted around them. You can see they move and shift, and they seem to be a little bit more fortified against other things. As you kind of hold the sword towards them, parts of these crystals kind of seem to almost block. It is like these almost floating shards of glass protect this individual as they remain in this ethereal form. But that is their action, their bonus action. That is all that they can do. That brings us to Ori.
Are they still that form?
Yes.
Current. I can see them though.
Yes, through the ice glass veil, you can see them.
Let me see if there's space for me here now. I guess, yeah, I can go over there. I'm worried about that grabby thing, but I guess I'm gonna...
He's slow, so he
He's
doesn't have any
slowed.
reactions.
Ah.
Well,
There you
yeah,
go.
that's
Yeah.
also fine, but I'm gonna just fly over to here. So that I'm within 5 feet
Being ungrateful is really good.
of Xoros.
Okay.
And I'm going to...
Yeah.
attack him.
Okay, make your attack roll.
Sorry.
You fly over this creature. They swipe out at you, but slowed. They cannot hit.
What should we talk about?
Pass the time.
I hope
Now,
that his grand
Over to
plan was
here,
to get Ori on the
actually.
altar so he could sacrifice Ori.
I'm going over to the side there so that I'm not... I'm still
Never mind.
mechanically away from him, but away from being directly in front of this.
Okay. Yeah, you stand in that corner space.
Spider-Man against the hog.
And I'm gonna, well, cause yeah, and I'm gonna make my attack. Ooh, nice. That's a 19 on the die, so I think that's gonna be a hit. That's like a.
With flanking,
Almost
did you
certainly,
roll it
that
with
is.
advantage?
Yeah.
Nice.
But it doesn't matter anyway, cause it's a sneak attack. I'm gonna make it prone again.
Maybe it would.
So another. It might matter, but another whatchamacallit.
They are prone. As you strike them, they are hit by Valis, which hurts them badly. And as they try to take this ethereal form, they take that and fall down.
You tripped a ghost. Not only did you trip an old man, you tripped a ghost.
He's ghost-like.
Oh, it's damage for that die, so that's 41 points
Wow.
of magical piercing, and he is knocked prone.
Or he is not. Tell us how it happened. In this moment, counterspelling him twice, there is no ability for them to regenerate their spells using their secondary economy of action. They are unable to regain any health. That is a tremendous amount of damage in a short period of time.
So
This individual...
They're just a nerd in the library.
This individual is just a wizard in this magical library, and they are missing their heart. Again, they probably had a lot more health, perhaps 2 days ago.
yeah, but also
happened 2
Ori's
days ago?
thinking
That's
who has the heart? Probably Levistus, and this might not be the last that we see of Xoros. As Ori comes flying in over Valis, basically like Valis has just done his attack, and pretty much off of Valis's back, Ori comes flying over and then lands thematically, because I didn't use my bonus action, but gonna one dagger into the chest and then land with a second dagger, kind of follow up on top of him.
Excellent. As you shatter through this element, you do take 31 points of ice damage, cold damage, pardon me. But
For the rule of cool.
the ice wall shatters across you. The ice just scrapes into your skin, hardens across your armor, but you still are able to pierce through Xoros, the empty space in their heart, their back already severed. They shouldn't have been walking anyways, but you are able to finish them off, and they sink to the ground dead. And all around you, these Modrons, you can see suddenly just and power down. You can see the elements of force that seem to almost spill out of their damaged cores in the past just shuts off, and elements of metal down to the stone, and you are all out of initiative. And in this moment, because it is about 8:45, it is a good place for us to step away. We will take a quick break, and we will come back in the second floor of the Aussenloch. Thank you for sticking with us. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Bye.
we are back. All of you, thank you for sticking with us through the break if you did. If not, we're playing D&D. You are too now. You all vanquished this mage. Xoros Echre, this drow, who seems to have had his heart removed. And as they lay vanquished, now freshly by Ori and by Valis, and by many of the rest of you sort of gathered in this space, the darkness is gone. The cold is still very much present. If anything, maybe even colder than before. What are you doing?
Is the wall of terror still there?
It is very much still there. You see these people, their eyes sightless, their mouths wordless, but there is still almost certainly suffering in their faces. They are still very much alive.
The heart's missing. The infernal contract says that the soul is forfeit. So Ori's probably wondering, like, he also just said, you can't end my suffering, and then, yeah. Ori's thinking, like, probably eternally suffering and has soul bound to Levistus still, since clearly the effects are still here. It's beyond Xoros.
So you all watch as Ori just does a JD
I don't
from
watch.
Scrubs.
No,
While
Ori's
he
like over
wonders-
the body still, and just kind of like,
While he wonders, he watches Valis loot the body.
We're all looking
Yeah.
through books.
make an
and
investigation
we're
that
looking
as he's like
around.
kind of getting off the body, being like, something's not right.
Oh, that's illegal.
And then I want to help, I guess, Valis as we
Yeah, you make the check as well, because I think your investigation is better than that.
Probably a little bit.
Probably,
Billy's looking
'cause
at
that's
nearby
something that I
bookshelves.
can use
10.
advantage.
Make an investigation check, Billy.
I believe mine is a 29.
Okay.
Oh, do I still have
I rolled a
bless? Oh, no, it
10.
doesn't matter.
Plus doesn't work for that.
Valis, you find a lot of blood. It's everywhere. And not all of it
Is this
from Xoros, probably. But not a whole lot else. For you, Ori, you are aware of the fact that this individual is wearing these robes that seem to have a protective magical quality to them. They do not have a 20 AC from mage armor alone. It seems as if this cloth material is almost certainly magically protective. You look through the elements that they have, but what you can't help but notice is that they are missing their heart. Probably their most valuable possession, no longer there. And that tells you that perhaps some of the more valuable things that they possessed, some of the more important things that you may have found on their body, not with them either. Maybe bound to that pact. There's not a lot on them. You do find a resonance stone that matches the one that you have. For you, Billy, as you look through
Billy, you got a
this-
15.
A 15. Okay. The books here are heavy. You open the first one and it reads The Unweaving of Souls. And there's a lot here. It's in common, and so you can definitely look across over time, but it's dense. The book next to it talks a little bit about living in simultaneous timelines, parallel lives, being able to put some on pause and drawing from the energy in that pause timeline to power one in a different one. There are books here that talk about planes that you have never heard of before. There's all kinds of stuff here that is deeply problematic in terms of what it could potentially unleash. Nothing here is simple. Nothing here is especially mundane. And with a check of 15, you get the sense that you could spend a long time in here looking through. There's almost certainly stuff that you are not finding.
Is everything like infernally coded and having to do with like infernal stuff? Or
No, but it's just a
various
lot of it
subjects?
is written very much like Da Vinci style, where there is like codes and things built into the writing. And so even in common, you can read a whole page and then realize you didn't really read anything. It was just words. It was almost like Delorem Ipsis, where like all of those words kind of made sense as you read them, but thinking back, it was like a bunch of prepositions and like circular speech. it would take some time to really be able to investigate any of these books, but you can freely take them.
Billy is going to keep an eye out for anything either related to any, like, the chrysanthemums, anything, like, iconography of, like, flowers or chrysanthemums, and any, like, chicken leg iconography.
Sure. With a 15, you find none of that.
Cool. Then Billy takes no books.
Okay.
And there doesn't happen to be a magical book that teaches me giant hair.
With a 15, there's not.
I thought when you said they were heavy that you were gonna luck into it.
Anybody else?
Giant.
Yeah. I am gonna go inspect one of the poor dudes who's like half in the wall. I'd like to see if there's anything I can do to end his suffering. Can I kill them, or like a mercy killing, or are they just like permanently?
No check required. That's sort of the direction that you would need to go. What you're looking at, I would say, when you were in the subterranean jail where people had been hooked up to this almost line of like venom, those people were doing way better than the people that are in here. You had seen Minka really regrettably kill somebody, and that was like an accident. That would be mercy here.
So, but so like just, I do think that I could put them out of their misery.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Their soul probably wasn't bound to.
Can I?
How is this
Just the
good?
physical
As
balance.
Alina ponders that, can Dallas see that and walk over there?
Yeah,
and
make an
inspect
Arcana
over?
check, Alina.
8.
There's magic in this room.
It's very magical.
I would like to observe the throne
Okay.
and mentally compare it to the other thrones we have seen, and basically be like, is this like the same sort of deal of ones we've broken before?
Make an Arcana check.
Oh gosh, I knew it was gonna be Arcana, and but
You're doing an Ori.
yeah.
Something's nagging at me, Ori. As I'm like,
Well, hang on one second. What was your check? Arcana?
Oh, sorry, 8.
8, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Does anything trip for Cheshire when walking into the room, kind of looking as she does for magic?
Yeah, without any check needed. I'll get to you in 1 second. Matt?
oh, so as as I'm standing over the body here, the heart is missing. There's another floor that's still trapped in ice, and things are still obviously happening with Levistus. So obviously now this pact has been broken, but the terms of the pact still in effect in some capacity, because
Yes.
so the soul is. So Ori is looking for. He also said Ori is the cause directly.
Yeah.
So trying to kind of deconstruct what that could mean in the
Make an
context
insight
of
check.
all of
Yeah.
the.
The really, really long way to ask for an insight check. Yes.
I'm trying to,
No. I get it. I think this was an instance where it makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Are the books on the altar as they are here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is as you see.
29.
With a 29, I would say the people on the wall is more horrific than they appear, but aside from that, everything is as you see.
Right, okay.
With a 29, you can see that Billy is searching through elements of books and looking and finding nothing. And a part of you is realizing that it's because Billy's looking for a connection that isn't here. There is no connection to Crimson Chrysanthemums here because this is not where they originate. This was something that you had maybe not wanted to face or had been pushing back against, but more and more it seems like your father behind much of the elements of this Wake Peter flu, because there are no traces of it here. And your father, as far as you know, is still very much alive, and this activity with Levistus, it endures. For what it's worth, those things seem connected to you.
Well, yeah. I'm thinking more, how is this tied in obviously, my father's part of the pact. But why have that sort of distinction in the first place? The terms for each specific party was different. This one has some very clear physical effects in the world here, and both they're probably to increase Levistus' influence on the material plane.
Sure.
Right? So, if the physical component for whatever is causing Wakepeter flu is the crimson chrysanthemums, and that's also the physical, I guess, what's tripping Ori up is like why the need for prism flu. Is that just to get the souls and the memories of the suffering?
Perhaps
what
that
is
would make sense.
What is the end goal?
You saw that
Put that
this.
in the end of campaign questions in Discord.
So what I will say
Yeah.
is, you had read this contract. You had it recited to you, and you know that there was a certain number of souls. Wakepeter flu is a way of obtaining souls, and you had recently seen Valis regain his memories. And while that is not a life, it was like a life that had been lost.
Right.
To a lesser degree, perhaps, memories serving as an element of souls. The Wakepeter flu, a slower way of doing that, perhaps, but both different avenues of serving the same pact.
So, essentially, the economy is still flowing.
Correct.
Okay.
And with Xoros removed, the economy freely flows. There is no guardian to this space, but nor is there any cost to upkeep it.
Right. So there is, yeah, we kind of fucked up a bit. That's kind of what I was thinking, is like, we didn't, yeah.
Question. Oh, sorry.
Or he's like, fuck, I should have asked.
The books on the altar here,
Yeah,
are they either of them handwritten?
both of them are. There's not a printing press, really, that's doing a lot of production in this continent. Here, yeah.
Do either of them look like Xoros is actively reading them when we disturbed him?
One, not actively. They're both kind of there in such a way that, like, if you pick them up, the binding cracks and suggests it hasn't been moved in probably several days. Minka, looking about this space, being familiar with cluttered environments, there have been times, especially as a child, where Lot tried to get you to clean your room. And tried is the operative word. It didn't succeed. Not for lack of trying, but sometimes you would just get so overwhelmed and you would just leave things in place. When things felt really hopeless, they would just sit. And that's what this feels like.
How do we destroy this?
Can we have
Well,
a
did
sidebar?
Cheshire have a thing?
So Cheshire, as you peek in, you look across this space.
It's a 30 for Arcana check. I don't know if you...
Excellent.
Finally, someone knows what the heck's going on here.
This is a magical room.
Yep, that's magic.
As Ori says that, Cheshire comes in, shining bright and glorious.
Ori
But
was
the
having-
magic of this room pales in comparison to the radiation that is just emanating from beneath. There is something immensely magical, immensely powerful, just a floor below. And with a 30, you get the sense that there is another portal to the hells very close by.
I knew it.
Yep.
On top of that, as you step into this place with no real visual check needed, you see that there are broken strings that at one point anchored to different parts of this room, to different books, to different people embedded in the walls, and now they look as if they have been severed. They look as if they have been broken. And at one point, perhaps they led to Xoros, but no more. You get the sense that you killing them, not the reason that these were cut, that was well before this battle, perhaps 2 days before.
Is Valis walking up to Alina?
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
so,
and I will say out loud, since you've been looking at them,
Yeah.
is there any way to save them? And can I also make an Arcana check to try to answer that question?
Yeah, sure.
16.
put them out of their misery.
I don't think so. And she's gonna fish out. Do I have a knife? Or she's gonna be like, do you have a knife? We should put them out of their misery, or at least out of this misery.
He pulls out his sword, yeah.
You don't have like a dagger or something? Okay. That'll work.
And he's going to...
Let me do it. This one's on my hands already. I'm gonna go and stab this dude.
You walk by Valis and you just stab this dude, and you are expecting a spasm, a sputter, anything, but they just go still. There is nothing that really happens. The walls don't change. You wonder what will happen after a day goes by too. They're fused into the structure, but they go still.
Alina's gonna be like,
Did they not seem conscious, by the way, like, as they're infused in the wall? Because I just want to make sure I have the picture right. Alright.
Hard to tell.
12.
Hard to tell.
Alina's gonna be like, Ori, I know this feels like your burden, but we're a team at this point. We're all here to help you. And she's gonna go over to one of the other guys and do a magic stab.
Team building.
Yeah.
You go and you murder another person in the wall.
I'm gonna go to a third one. And I'm gonna try to face step him out first before I stab him.
Okay.
Damn it!
You touch this person and you face step them, and in this room there is a loud as you rip their body in two, leaving elements of the bone and organs left embedded
That's
in the
not
wall.
what I wanted to
And the
happen.
other half, and then
way to
just
do it, I
scatters,
guess.
hits the ground, and with 20 feet of momentum just slides across the
Having a moment here.
I didn't think he would do that.
And then like a second goes by and the organs out. You have not saved them.
Valis, we were just stabbing them.
Is this stone or viscera?
Viscera.
It's all viscera.
All viscera. You get the sense that maybe deep in there's a stone chair.
Yeah, but it's currently covered in viscera. Okay.
yeah.
Between all of us, are we killing the rest of them? Alina's just
Yeah.
gonna keep killing the guys.
Oh.
Everyone
Yeah.
else does.
As I'm going around, there's got to be a way to like melt the ice, if that's presumably where this portal that we are aware of
Well,
is,
Is it still there?
because it's emanating out.
Take out the battery.
Where's the battery? I guess I'm gonna look around for a quote-unquote battery.
Why don't you
Is
let
the
her
ice still
answer your
Huh?
Is the ice blocking the thing still
Well,
It is.
Okay.
But with Xoros gone, as you make your way into the hall, Cheshire had like tried to kind of step closer, and it physically hurt. And though it's cold, it is not as cold.
Mm.
And you get the sense that maybe over the course of a couple of hours, this ice will recede slightly.
Oh. Do you share that with the group?
I think because at this point, Minka's gonna come back and through after like examining the ice and be like, I think with Xoros' death, we can now breach the other chamber, but we will still need to melt the ice.
Fire would work. Anything
Yeah.
that would melt or break ice will probably work, but
I can
it's
do
thick.
fire.
It would take a while. So I suppose the next question becomes, is there anything we want to do to prepare before going down to break the last?
Well, it would be really nice to have Ruz around. He has so much knowledge of all things infernal, and it feels not awesome to be walking into this without him, but it would take an hour to bring him back, so I don't know if we have that time.
We have both resonance stones right now.
You have two, yes.
You have two. So
I have one
from
more
what we have heard from our friend, who may or may not be in the hallway still, and hopefully has not witnessed anything.
You
of
left
this
them
yet.
upstairs
Yeah.
on the stairs to the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as we know, those are the stones that are the closest. And if someone were to need another one to get in here, they would need to travel a little bit to go fetch another one.
They, as far as you know, they would need to go to the 9th floor. I think you were told.
Right.
In the sort of scholars' chamber, there is likely another at least.
Yeah. And like guesstimating how long that would take versus how long we've been here. Do we have an hour?
No, almost certainly not. You at best, would maybe have about 30 minutes.
Okay. I don't think we have that long.
Yeah.
I think before we're caught in this room, we may need to finish our work.
What
For lack of a
battery?
better way of putting it. This, I don't know, guys. This feels really awful.
Cheshire,
Yeah.
what
I have
battery
a
are you
dumb
talking
mechanical question.
Yeah.
Let's say
What
that I were to cast Summon Fiend, just like the regular spell. Could I get res back in an action instead of an hour?
Yeah, if you really want to.
I mean, I'd be okay. So he's
You're
gonna say
really it's yeah. I would say that sacrifice of resources for res is hilarious.
Yeah, okay. Alina's gonna be like, I mean, I guess I could resummon him and but I'd be using some
Just-
really powerful, so
like,
probably
what-
not. But still, I just feel uncomfortable going into this without our devil friend.
Cheshire, what battery are you talking about? Point it out, please.
She gestures to the throne.
How do we remove this?
Does it look like the memory loom? You said
It does, yeah. This
Does
is
it
like a
look like
throne
they
of
are-
viscera. You don't see memories attached to it at the top, but this is like a throne of viscera, like the base beneath the memory loom. You, as Minka had sort of thought, there may be something within. Maybe a fun little prize on the inside of all that gore.
Can I Arcana check this throne?
Yeah, make an
Can
arcana
I
check.
physically
19.
investigate?
You gonna
Make
get
an
sacrificed,
investigation
boys.
check. What was that?
19.
With a 19, this throne of viscera, the place that it occupies is massive, but it's bigger than the chair that you remember. It feels as if it is almost protecting something.
Did you give me guidance?
And so perhaps this is more of a barrier than a throne.
Hold on. Sorry, you.
If it's made of stone, I might be able to do something. If it's made of magic, I might be able to do something. But I will be pretty much tapped after that.
You see Ori just sticks his hand into the throne.
Oh, don't. Oh.
Oh, he's-
Reach into it. It's warm, not quite body temperature, but warmer than it should
Why
be.
does it have to be warm?
One thing that you're distinctly aware of is it has no pulse. It feels like it should. It feels like you're reaching into lifeless flesh, because indeed you are. And about 4 inches in, your fingertips brush stone.
There's nothing, like, is it just the wall?
You, in a little bit deeper, there's a large flat stone. You, off to the side, there is a weird 90-degree angle, and you realize you're touching the seat on the inside of this.
So it is just a seat encased in this flesh.
And as you push further, you feel the end of the seat. There is much more space behind, and your hand actually straight through, and it's cold beyond.
Is that the portal itself?
Are you asking that aloud?
It's cold.
Did you say that?
Or he's
Cold
like
is not good.
shoulder deep in
Uh-huh.
flesh that is just like leaking out onto
I
him.
mean,
Are
it's
you
old.
getting eaten currently?
No.
Can you
I'm
pull
not
your
gonna-
hand
Just
back?
checking. It looks disgusting.
You pull your hand out. It's
Oh, no. I'm gonna-
as you do. It's gross, but not being eaten. And as Ori pulls their hand away, Binka confirmed for you. You can see the little bits of stone elements, granite, of this chair.
Nice chair.
Let
there a
me
way to,
see
like-
if I can maybe burn it away.
Okay, you can start there.
I think whatever we need is in
Moonbeam.
further back.
You pull this moonbeam into existence from the space above you on the ceiling. It is like a bright light appears and a tiny, very thin version of sunbeam just straight down. The flesh just melts away, almost squealing as it peels back and seems to crawl into the recesses of this throne. And you can see beyond this, there is hovering in a space, a chamber beyond. As this space opens up, bones just kind of rain out from the other side. Ori,
I got him in my
you,
mouth.
as your arm is in, are just completely
Why?
like covered in them.
Oh, God.
And then completely encased in them so as to perhaps physically obscure using a thickness of a certain amount, these bones forming a shell around this perfect sphere of melting ice. And thinking about a battery, you look back, Cheshire is pointing directly at it. And has been this whole time.
That battery?
Just an orb of melting ice.
That's what it looks
It's
like.
my boom
But it
beam.
hovers in this kind of hollow space. It had been wrapped in this literal pile of bones about 8 feet tall. And as they fall away, it continues to hover. It needs no support to stand. It's magical.
Does my moonbeam seem to do anything to the ice?
It doesn't.
Is that like? Is there a heart inside?
Maybe we should melt it, right?
Wait.
If it's a battery and we destroy it, and she's gonna produce flame. No, produce flame doesn't make heat. She's gonna not cast fireball. She's gonna be like, anyone have a way to make fire?
I do.
That's not this.
I take out a tinderbox and I start going. It usually takes me a couple of tries.
It's not wrong.
Actually, well, can I start throwing produce flames at it? Because that will do fire damage.
And produce flames producing fire damage
Yeah.
seems to be what you need. As you cast that spell, and the fire licks across.
Why'd you ask for it?
The entire sphere cracks right down the middle and shatters into these two opposite sides. You have to like shield your face away from it, or you have just like gotten out of the bones, and then ice just sprays you in the face. And in this moment, you hear more cracking ice in the hall. And you would imagine in this hallway, the barrier falls away. You can hear elements of like ting, 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 almost rain as the ice falls downstairs behind. Ice had not filled the space, merely provided several feet of ice to potentially make your way through. Certainly this saves you a lot of time. It's cold from beyond that chamber, and as the ice breaks, it is colder still.
You need to close the portal behind there.
The portal will have more guards. Are we ready for another fight? I am almost out of magic myself.
Well, apparently we don't have any time.
Or he's
We
got like
have
ice shards through him, like
perhaps
one of those.
15 minutes
Skyrim
before
again.
that group that was doing patrols comes back.
Where do they come from?
They come from the other side of the resonance chamber door, like where we came, but they would have to go back to get another stone.
But
Yeah.
can they come down here?
If they get another stone, yes.
They'll have to
That's
come
the door
here
open.
and then, realizing there is no stone, walk all the way back to the 9th floor, find the person who has another stone, and then walk all the way back down here. But they, given the amount of time that they had past the last patrol, they have likely already returned or are in the moment returning to that space and realizing that they cannot get by. So within the next 20 minutes or so, they're probably going to be like getting the stone, and then maybe no more than 20 minutes later, making their way through. So perhaps 40 minutes away.
Oh,
This memory loom.
Nick's not pick good time.
I'm not either. So
I'm just.
not a memory loom. So this is like a viscera throne, like the
Okay.
one that had been beneath the memory loom.
blood,
There is
the
no
blood
memory
throne.
loom proper here. You do. Cheshire had seen these kind of snap strings, and so perhaps there had been elements of memory threads tied in here previously. But again, it's like things broke very recently.
Yeah.
So the
Is
thing
that
I'm.
chest a chest?
That is.
Leah's gonna start looking at the chest.
Go over to this chest. Are you opening it?
I'm gonna be like, Ori,
What?
can you check this for traps?
Are there any traps?
Make an investigation check.
What it's worth, there's also another chest over here.
Maybe we should look it up.
27.
We should probably open all the chests.
Or, sorry,
What are we, not adventurers?
23.
With a 23, there is a trap on this.
Whoa!
You can see that the sort of hinge of this is a little thicker than it should be, and that's because this would almost certainly serve as a sort of like snapping saw that could potentially remove the hands of a person trying to open it. This is magical in nature, so you're not quite sure. It's not something that you could pick off.
Can I just like stick something into it so that it would set it off and then effectively disarm it?
Yeah, what are you sticking in there?
Can I stick one of the shooting stars in?
You are standing in a literal pile of bones, Ori.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, pick up a
If you
femur.
want to.
I feel like it's been so long since we
Well, I mean,
tried
a
to find a trap
magical.
and found one.
The thought is that
Like
if this is a
expected, not bad.
magical lock, well, I guess I'm gonna be like, there's some sort of magic on it. It seems like it's going to spring if you attempt to unlock it.
Leah's gonna pick up a femur and poke.
Ah!
You take the femur and you poke. Make a dexterity saving throw. The
Is
entire
it against the
scene
spell?
of this, it is not snap. Well, I'll say you can use that advantage for this.
That's so
Can I
nice.
stand nearby while this happens so that you can get +4?
I would like that, please. Is the bless still running?
Probably not with... I'm already kind of giving you some stuff here.
You super are. Cool. That's a 9.
That's a 9. As the band snaps, it wide and then snaps almost like a bear trap, but it is blunt, not like toothed. It is still a great amount of pressure as it does deal...
I was going to suggest that I do that.
Oh.
It does deal 16 points of bludgeoning damage as it just slams on your hands. And just the pure pressure alone, almost enough to just squeeze the flesh into the bone, but you are able to just pull them out right at the last moment.
And Alina's like, I deserve that.
But the
also,
chest is now unlocked.
Yeah, and so she's going to be like, in for a penny, in for a pound. She's going to open it up.
You open it up.
Second trap.
What explodes out of this chest is the light that emanates from the platinum that is within.
Damn, man.
She's, is it like just a pile of platinum?
It is a pile of platinum coins that you could see on top of a little bit more gold. There are probably close to 20 platinum in this pile, which makes it pretty good already. But then underneath that, there's close to 200 pieces of gold as well. This is like a small treasury that has been stored here, essentially the Aussenloch's petty cash. And then back behind, you said there is another chest. Are you opening it?
He's going to be like,
We gotta check for traps first.
I'll take a look at that one.
Okay, make an investigation check.
And I'm going to
She's
take
gonna
a look
shovel
at it,
everything into
and
the bag of
then
holding.
I'm going to, depending on that, pick it. And that's a 23.
You look at this chest, and you really, it's pretty mundane looking, but as you look at it and it looks back at you, you recognize chest shouldn't do that.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a
no.
mimic.
And almost certainly this is a mimic.
That's a mimic.
oh,
Back up.
probably just leave that alone. Thank you,
I
Ori.
back up.
You see the seams begin to drool just a little bit, but you back up.
I take Xoros' robe, the magical robe.
You strip this dude.
Strip him of his dignity. He's never had it.
You hold your hand over him, and the robe just disappears off his body. Enters your inventory. You remove the elements of this Arcana-class robe. It's a much more ornate version of the one that you yourself have. As you remove this robe, even the robe itself, seems to have an enchantment that has some element of abjuration magic to it. You imagine this robe probably would add +1 to your AC if you are a spellcaster and attuned to this item.
Oh, I was going to take that.
The most magical one of all.
Anybody else?
Cheshire, as you're the one that has the best rapport with our friend upstairs, can you think of a reason for him to not come down and see this horror?
Do we just need to wait for the ice to melt at this point now?
Can we, mayhaps, should we say something so he doesn't stumble upon it?
Yeah.
Is that something you can do for us, please?
Yeah.
I would like to at least save him a little bit of
I mean, I
this.
told him already he didn't have to come downstairs.
True. Okay.
I don't think we need to bring him any further with us.
No, I just want to make sure he doesn't like get antsy and then like come down the stairs after us and then
I mean, did the door close behind us with the resonance stone, or was it left open?
You don't necessarily know. I will say it did close behind you.
Okay. He probably can't get... Oh, well, if I don't know that, never mind.
Yeah.
He didn't want to come in the room because of the memories, so like he's back.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Here's
Okay.
something I'm confused about. We have the resonance stone. We need the resonance stones to get down here.
Mm-hmm.
Why... No one can get through the door that
There's another
came
stone.
down here.
There are multiple stones.
There's multiples, yeah.
Beyond these. There's at least one more that we know of.
Every member of the Arcana class has one, and also every
Yes.
scholar of the experimental chambers.
No, the scholars of the experimental chamber share one, which is the one we first got. The Arcana class have one, but
Each of the Arcana class have one.
each of them have one, but they're all here, and they're... Were there any other members of the Arcana class in the library
No.
above?
No. There's 2 other ones who are outside of the library, and then you know that there's at least one more with the residents, the scholars in residence as well.
which is the one we have.
No,
No,
so that's what the
there's one more.
experimental ones.
Oh,
The scholars in residence are just the scholars who are living, like literally they have like little apartments. In
Gotcha.
The,
I thought the experimental
ninth floor.
and the residents were the same one.
no.
Okay.
There's at least one more. Yeah.
Those are closer to like your scholar emeritus. They're like, rising up and hoping to become part of the Arcana
They're
class
the
one day.
ones that they have to go up to get the third key from.
While we're like getting ready, Alina's gonna use both of her get a spell back items.
Okay.
Spell slot, I mean.
My final thoughts on this is we need to start thinking about our exit strategy. We left here some upstairs, and somehow I don't think we're gonna be able to easily walk away from the amount of viscera around us.
Speaking of which, should we tell Hearsome what we found? Because this is a lot. I don't think we expected to find another.
Do we still
You think there's service down here?
do we have the stone still?
Beep boop beep.
You
Yeah.
touch the stone, you speak the words of power, Billy, off in the corner, just trying to find reception.
Billy, look
There's
at their books,
just
man.
a brief, and instantly on the other end you hear, yes,
Sorry we've been gone so long.
it's been more than a day. I was worried.
So are we. We're on the second level of the Aussenloch. And we found Xoros Echre.
And
He's dead.
Give someone more
Billy.
competent the stone if you want.
You can't hear this.
Yeah.
You can hear Billy's side of the conversation. That's it.
Yeah, I can hear Billy.
I don't think you can. I thought it was.
you can hear Billy's side of the
Oh,
conversation.
never
Yeah, you
mind.
can hear Bill talking.
Everything down here is Stygian. They've been researching infernal contracts, and there's infernal iron and things everywhere. Echre was part of some infernal pact that is now broken, and now there's a portal to Stygia in the basement.
That's troubling. Do you intend to close this portal, or will you deal with more pressing matters first?
Portals to Stygia and Levistus is not troubling.
Well, I would prefer one not be here, of course, but there are many ways to access the hills. There is only one of the Hag Queen.
Yeah, but do we want a way to access the hells and the bottom floor of the Aussenloch?
I don't care. Humans have a way of inviting this sort of thing upon themselves, Billy. You cannot make them be safe. Mortals.
Do we notice him just?
So, do we just leave this? The entire Arcana class is also melded to the walls and now dead. We have put them out of their misery. They're dead. All of them are dead.
Well, that sounds wonderful then. They'll replace them, I'm sure.
I don't. Here's him.
Yes, Billy.
All of this feels immediate and pressing. How? We also need an escape plan because there's a lot of guards between us and out.
Well, you have Alina with you, do you not?
Alina, can you cast teleportation circle?
Like right now?
Yes.
I guess. Do I see any reason why I couldn't?
There's
Guess
physical
so.
space. If you have the spell slots, if you have the chalk, you can do it.
Does
Yeah.
Hearsome not want us to deal with the portal? Is that not a?
Nope. Apparently not.
Oh,
What?
Apparently we should just leave it there because hags are bigger problems.
When you say that, Hearsome says, it isn't my preference for you to leave it there, to be clear, but if it is not an easy problem to overcome, there are more pressing concerns.
Can we close it easily?
We closed the last one in
we've done it before,
what?
yeah.
18 seconds?
Depend on its structure.
Billy wasn't there. Well, Billy was very engaged with a shiny
You were
sword.
around, yeah.
I think hearing this Minka's gonna, I'll go look at it. And then she's gonna start going downstairs.
Wait, if we're looking around, we're like, oh god damn it, Ori beat you to it.
So yeah, Ori's already out in the hall. Ori, you notice that the ice has receded. It is cracked and is like broken on the sides of the wall, and so you can just walk straight down if you want.
So it seems
It's
like
cold. It's really cold.
Tell him
But
we're
you can
doing
walk
it.
to the
Tell him we're
stairs.
doing it.
Okay, so looking down the stairs, do I see anything more, or am I gonna have to? Is it spirals?
It's not. So looking down the stairs, these stairs relatively short, 25 feet that go straight down, and there is a 15-foot wide, almost less of a chamber and more of just a wide hallway. And at the very end of it, 30 feet away, there is a massive, twisted black iron portal, and through it, you can see a city that looks more like a maze than a city. You are looking at tall walls that are fashioned from stone and ice. You feel the cold radiating out from this place. You can see brutalist Gothic elements, tall spires. You see faceless statues in the distance. You see glowing infernal runes carved onto the surface. You see black ice. This is Stygia that you are looking into, and you are looking out into a city. You hear infernal voices calling out. There is the sounds of hustle and bustle happening just beyond. But the portal itself opens up into some kind of an interior chamber. You can see through windows that are barred, elements beyond, like watchtowers that are integrated into the sort of cold landscape that is out and beyond.
So
You were looking at
apparently
Stygia.
we can close these portals really quickly.
Well, that's delightful, Billy. Close the portals and hurry along. We've much to do.
Cheshire would have caught up with
Different.
Ori.
Looking than the one that we had seen previously.
Mildly. Different construction. There's different materials available.
And seeing the portal would like to identify the easiest way to disable it.
Yeah, that's Ori probably from a more mechanical, like, how can I blow this thing up?
So make an Arcana check, Cheshire. For you, Ori, I would say make a history check.
Do I get my thing?
Yeah, I would say you do.
26.
I hate it every time, but I would say you do. With the 26, as you look at this, like any physical device, applying overwhelming force will almost certainly destroy this. Radiant force would probably be more effective in that regard.
17.
With the 17, portals have been destroyed in the past. And a variety of ways have been applied. There are rituals for breaking them. There are tales of people collapsing castles to ruin them.
Is there
If
a
we
focal
crush
point?
The
Like something that's
tower.
holding the magic? Like, is there a focal point of it that would be more critical to hit or to disable?
You know enough about these by now to know that that's not on the material plane.
Yeah.
If we just put the entire building on top of it, I think that would work.
Too much. Just light it up.
Do I
Light it
do
up.
I see the can I catch up to them and see the portal?
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Light it up.
All of you now stand at the top of the stairs, kind of like Scooby-Dooing it over each other's shoulders, looking down the space, the slick staircase full of ice, and into Stygia.
Would a barrel of thunderstones work?
No.
No.
Again, we're workshopping
but-
here.
Would a barrel of
Not
thunderstones
as well.
destroy the ceiling above it and collapse this floor?
You could cave the floor in using if you wanted to use the entire barrel of thunderstones, that's I would say probably close to like 60 pounds of TNT. Not that I've done the math, but it's a pretty good amount. You could do some damage with that.
Can we please not collapse this building on top of us?
Well, I was going to say, what we could do is set it up, leave, have Rez blow it up, and then meet us.
We don't have res.
I don't have an hour to summon Rez. But, maybe I could throw a fire at it from over there?
I mean, I'm really not the one who should be coming up with a plan to destroy this portal. I
told you the plan.
So I'm
Light
not-
it up.
I don't do that.
I'm not with the group yet.
fucking
Now I'm
group.
realizing, wait, I'm by myself. So before I leave this, I just want to cast Detect Magic and just do a sweep up here
Okay.
and go on my way down.
You Cast Detect Magic and make an investigation check at advantage using that tool in your arsenal.
I am not good at investigating. Oh, but I can roll
Psych.
well.
There we go. Who needs skill?
19. Not a very smart person.
A
That's
19
why
is
they
still
kicked
pretty
me out of
good.
the Aussenloch.
And with Detect Magic up, it helps because you can see elements of magic. Many of these books are magical in the way that they've been written, which is kind of surprising. You thought maybe there would be like spells embedded in them. For many of them, that's the case. And then one of the books on this long table does ping with enchantment magic, which is a little different than the others. But aside from that, there's nothing like huge that you really find here.
Okay.
You
So
make-
it's just the one enchantment book that on the table that you said?
Yeah, and the rest seem magical in the way that like maybe an auto-quilled book might be magical. It is
Gotcha.
the production. The words within, interesting. I mean, you are reading at the idea of from harvesting dreams, awakening new gods. Like there are concepts here that are very unsettling, but quite cutting edge.
Can I just grab the enchantment book and try to meet up with the group and I'll
You
take a look at it
certainly
later?
can. You grab that enchantment book. It's in common, so you can look at it right now if you want. But yeah, you grab it.
Meanwhile, we're all downstairs. Like, okay, Cheshire says we need radiant damage. Where's Valerie?
I come down, I mean with the group. Portal!
Clink,
Sunbeam.
Do you actually?
No, I guess I should say, can we destroy that just by damaging it?
She says radiant damage. You're
Light's
good at
best.
that, right?
But I mean, you could.
Sunbeam.
You take out the prayer beads, you clutch this element of sunstone, and there is an eruption of this light that just hits
through the
this
portal,
portal.
hits a portal
And
down.
easy enough, especially concentrating the beam and just again and again hitting it. The first strike cracks elements of this blackened metal, and the space beyond shakes. You can sort of see almost within this place, there are like these illusions that appear on the far wall, and in this polished sort of space of ice, for just a moment you do see your reflection. The second beam shatters the element of the first supporting brace, and the entire portal flickers. You can see some of the elements of the wall with the light that erupts. You see infernal written into the ice itself, but reflected. And then with the final pulse of this sunbeam, you destroy this portal, and the temperature instantly begins to rise. You close the way to Tantalon. The antechamber of echoes beyond just disappears, and you are now standing on a very disappointing first level of the Aussenloch. With the portal gone and kind of destroyed, this is just a 30-foot long, 15-foot wide hallway with ruined, twisted metal on the inside. But you have closed the way to Stygia.
Alina is gonna start digging out her chalk and start doing as much of the teleportation circle as she can.
Yeah.
Like ready to put in to like write in the airport code or whatever.
Billy is super bloody and is just standing by the door with a sword,
Okay.
ready to
I
go.
was gonna look through the room and see, like, there's nothing here that's missing. Not that Ori thinks that there is any more information, but one final check, like, if there's any information about the prism flu.
I would see no check needed. This is not a place where it seems like the prism flu is even really being studied. You haven't seen a single
I guess-
shred of it.
Sorry, rather more in the context of the pact, because obviously the pact is...
The pact, the evidence of the pact that you see is the ruins of a portal to the hells. This was a direct gateway to perhaps do business or continue to engage in whatever the pact was really kind of about from Levistus' standpoint. That is now closed. And the evidence that might point to what that might be, perhaps within the antechamber of echoes or somewhere else in Tantalon.
Oh, okay.
Was I'm sorry.
Just a quick question. Detect magic's still running. Is anything magical in this room?
The portal, really magic, and then you shatter the shit out of it. And the metal on the inside of it does hum with an almost internal sort of radiation, and that traces its way up, and you realize this sort of blackened metal. This is infernal iron. There is innately magical qualities to it, and you're realizing this seems to be almost like an opposite to what the staircase is made out of. And you realize that the staircase is a material that many of you have seen before. It's cold wrought iron. It is something that many fey creatures are allergic to, can actually get burns from touching.
That's why Harrison did not like the
And
staircase.
perhaps that's why Harrison himself has not been in this place. This is an intervention that, by the way, though you don't know this, Valis, Diatre Lunsunder used a very similar way to keep Hirsim and other archfey out of their home.
Oh.
Was this not supposed to be their living quarters? This floor?
Also, Mink is gonna find like a shard of iron that's pick upable.
You take a little shard of infernal iron. As you touch it, you expect it to be cold, but it feels almost warm. It feels almost like home. There is something almost innately tempting to this piece of metal. You could make beautiful jewelry out of this. You slap it out of Mika's head. You see Mika look at it and instantly slap it right out.
No!
Billy, what are you yelling at?
I hung up!
Oh, okay.
The reason why I picked it up
I watched her do this.
Was to see if we could use it. We're teleporting to the hills later, but I just got distracted with the overwhelming urge to bite it.
Oh, that's a really good
That is
question.
a really good question, but you get this piece of metal slapped out of your hands as you try to put it in your mouth.
That's probably for the best, Belina. We might be able to use that to go to the hills someday. Or maybe we should take a piece just in case. But keep that away from me. I don't think
her very nice black gloves TM and picks it up.
Okay, the
Alina's
gloves of a
gonna
murderer.
open
You
the,
take them.
We still need to go to the living map, don't we?
No,
No,
Alright.
you
Oh,
got
we
the
already did.
location. You know
Oh, right,
exactly
right.
where it
We
is.
know.
For
Yeah,
better
That's
or
where you
worse.
stabbed
And-
Billy.
Right,
You know
right,
exactly
right.
where
I
it
stabbed
is.
you.
And as such,
That's one- yeah.
Alina drawing her teleportation circle is going to be like, I think it's time to go, don't you?
Where are we going?
I don't know. Where are we going?
You drew the circle.
Let me just check
I was
something real-
waiting to fill in the where we're going.
Oh, shouldn't we just go up topside so that we can meet Pearson?
Yeah, is that okay with everybody else? I gotta check.
Like,
which
just
places.
walk out? I don't see an issue
No,
with
no,
that.
no.
No,
Teleport.
like teleport to the... So we don't have to go past the guards.
Yeah, yeah,
We teleport, circle out
yeah.
into the arrival...
The arrival zone. Yeah, that's the one that I know how to get
You
to.
can get to the central chamber in the Emerald Spire.
Why don't we just... Okay. Why don't we just go back the way we came?
Lots
Oh.
of guards.
In
and
about
dead
5
bodies.
minutes.
guards are
if
coming.
Oh, in
you
about
got
5
that-
minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys are getting pretty close.
Yeah.
You want
Um,
to look at something before we left?
You can always come back in the front door again.
Also true.
Or the wood door.
We could stay here for 1 year.
I
Circle right
wanted
here.
to look at this armor. The armor that we passed, was it just ceremonial?
Are you walking all the way back to it? You only have about 5 minutes.
We don't have
so
time. Oh, well, I guess we don't have time. Can I think about it? I like to think about
You
it.
can think about it.
Free action.
Are you casting this spell?
I'm waiting for confirmation that we are going
Yes.
to Emerald Spire.
Again?
And then Alina always checks to make sure everybody's like ready to jump in because
Okay.
it always stays open.
You
for-
look around. Everybody else presses the ready up button.
Yeah.
You're ready to engage in this raid.
Ready check?
Everybody
Alice?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready
gets
check?
ready,
There.
and you complete
And then-
this teleportation circle, filling in the glyphs that match those in the spire phase chamber of the Emerald Spire. And all of you feel that familiar sensation of being pulled away. And then there is voices as you are now within that central space. And there are people like stepping out of like other platforms. It is right around 8:30 in the morning. And so you are hitting, it's Monday. You're hitting rush hour traffic in the central like hustle and bustle of
Billy's
the
just like dripping
Yeah, that is
blood
a. Did we
everywhere.
remember to deviscera ourselves,
No, we're
especially?
fully visceral.
We are-
No,
We
I'm
are
at
still
12
seamed,
HP, and
so
I'm at
we are
least
awesome viscera.
shoulder deep in goop.
Bones. Does anybody notice us?
Yeah,
I mean,
almost
seeming is still
certainly.
active.
As
Oh,
you,
right!
Oh, it is still active.
Where are Viscera-covered Aussenloch
Bravo.
scholars?
No,
Actually,
so
we're
seeming
just
up,
Aussenloch
you're
scholars
just
because
The
Aussenloch
viscera is like
scholars.
under
On
the seeming.
us.
So
Not
as
on
soon
the
as you
other.
step off this
Oh.
teleportation circle, there's this
Incredible.
old man who's like getting off. You can see he has a bunch of
Boy.
bags over, and he gets up and he goes, Mildred, you smell blood? And they just kind of turn around, and she says, Harry, your nose is going. You haven't smelled anything in 20 years. Come along now. And just like pulls them along. But while people certainly are aware that like you step in and people immediately just wrinkle their noses, like begin to look around. You see like there is a teenage girl who instantly like kind of blushes and like walks off to the side. There's a reaction, but you do not. You get the sense that it's not to you. They kind of look over and the eyes just go right across.
We should go.
Alina's going to just suddenly start to prestidigitate herself clean under the
You begin to press.
Where
the
do I
digit
see
yourself.
Hearsome? Is he?
Hearsome's
in-
at the
You
tower.
do not hear some.
He's waiting for us outside.
Waiting for you
actually.
outside.
Oh, I
Maybe we
thought-
should call him
oh,
and tell him
we're-
to meet us
yeah.
somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Because
Okay.
we didn't have
you. People
Yeah, 'cause we didn't have
Go back to
Jailer.
Crispy's, maybe?
And again, he says, "Yes, Billy.
All right, the portal's closed.
Excellent.
We can meet you at Crispy's because we couldn't go back the way we came.
Lovely. I'll meet you there shortly."
Making our way to Crispy.
Making my way to
how
Crispy's.
dead is everyone?
Bad.
Less
I'm
than,
actually
less
fine
than
because
half.
I.
So your very like
Unfortunately, he's
noble-looking
my-
group of scholars lips and like just drags themselves
Hey,
down.
scholars can be
I'm at about
Oh,
a
for sure.
10%.
It is actually
Hard
fine
work.
now because she burned her heal spell
You
on
make
herself.
your
I
way
could, I guess,
down.
bonus action second
Well,
win.
I have Aura Vitality, and I still have the slots for it, so I can cast it while we're walking back.
Go.
I
And-
had to put a numerical assignment on it. 40%.
Okay. Let me cast this. I'm gonna do some
25%.
I know Hearsome's in a hurry, but maybe he can like.
I
long
think we
rest us.
should.
rolls.
Yeah, I think we should probably. Oh, as in like Kirsten can magically make us rest faster.
Or he could
Or
take,
just let us rest.
Oh, okay.
or
Yeah.
he could take us to a plane where time flows differently, and we can have like a week. And then when we get back,
Okay.
it will still be now.
I kind of don't think it works like that.
I've
but I
lost a
love
lot
the
of
way you
blood,
think-
and I
know,
need to
I know.
sleep.
You all begin your hike back towards Crispy's. You make your way out of this chamber, and you've traveled across the Emerald Spire quite a few times now. It's easy for you to make your way back eventually to the Warm and Welcome Way, out of the Phase Obelisk, and into the Wincing Manticore. Is there anywhere that you guys are stopping along the way? You do notice for the first time as you kind of make your way through, people give you a wide berth. It's not like out of fear. There's a lot of like respect of the Aussenloch in this Emerald Spire. And so you guys get like sort of like people look and go, oh, excuse me, like move out of your way to allow you to walk.
Alina's almost out of teleportation chalk. If they walk by any store where she could procure some of that, she would pop in.
Okay.
And Billy would be keeping an eye out for some powdered diamond.
Same.
Okay.
Or at least diamond that we can powder.
You're going via Sanderoth's way. Give me 1 second. Let me see what is on
I have a
Sanderoth's
jeweler's good.
way.
Also,
I can
for
literally
the
powder.
cash that we got in there, everybody gets 66 2/3 gold.
Very nice.
You can have 67. and
You
a
don't
third.
pass anywhere that has reagents on your way to
You can have 67 and a third.
the place. After you get out there, you cross the Warm and Welcome Way, and you would come out right outside of Crystal Crest. There are many children gathered around on their way to the educational facilities just to level up. You pass Tomgar's Anvil, where there is just the sound of hammer hitting steel. You pass the Dragon's Folly, a little bit of a higher end blacksmith. You pass the Mixologist, the Stone Man, Schoenheit, and you make your way to the Wincing Manticore. Here, almost immediately, Crispy kind of pops out from the other side. They're cleaning things up and getting ready to open for the day, but very keen to see all of you. And they say, "Oh, Wandering Hearts, you've come back! Is it time for drinking? Ori!"
He can see us through the seeming.
Oh.
Also,
No, I
my-
can't.
Is my sister still there? Because the
We
last...
left her at the
at the
Golden
win-
Pool.
I thought it was
No,
the
I
Semantic
think it
War.
was here.
The Wizard's
here.
Manticore.
Oh!
Yeah.
Thank you.
She is upstairs. Give me one second.
65 points of healing
That's
to
what
be
Ori
spread
is
around amongst you.
concerned with when they
I
get
don't.
there.
I'm good. Everyone else can.
How much?
65 points of healing up for
Ooh.
grabs to be
I'll
spread
take
upon
10 of
those.
it.
No, he does not see through seeming. He does not have that ability, and so he just kind of looks at you and then just goes right back to what he's
I
doing.
think once we get into the room and out of public view, Cheshire would end seeming.
Okay. So you walk in, they turn, they look a little bit dismayed, and they go, welcome to the Wandering Manticore. Can I get you a drink?
Crispy, it's us.
You say
Ori?
you drop seeming.
Yes.
So now we're like.
And then Cheshire drops seeming. You are right there. They look at you. That whole interaction now happens exactly as it did before. Drinking time?
No, how is my sister? Is
Oh,
she,
she's asleep. It's early in the morning.
has she been up?
Ah,
Drink.
just a moment. You know it's important to get to business first. Ori, a bit of business.
Not right now.
Drink.
I'll get you a bit of business anyways. They pop
It'll
off
make
the
you
thing. They
feel
make their way down to the
better.
basement. You can hear them just making their way down the stairs. They come back. They provide a little bit of whiskey for everybody. Nice 9 a.m. whiskey. And is there anything that you're doing before Hearsome comes back? It'll probably take Hearsome about 15 minutes to get here.
How
Wash my
damaged
face.
are people looking still?
With seeming dropped, more.
Still at about a 40%.
Okay, I'm just gonna cast this again.
Okay.
I'm up to 66.
In this
Alina
space,
plans to
as you
strongly
drink this
advocate for
whiskey,
all.
it is a very, sort of mild whiskey that is not especially good, but as it syncs up with Minka's healing spell, for some of you, it's the best whiskey you've ever had. It fortifies you in a way that you've never had alcohol make you feel better.
78 points for y'all to figure out.
Yeah. While the taste is not exceptional, the feeling is.
I could still take a good amount.
Oh, 40? 50?
I'll take whichever.
How much do you need?
I'm fine. You want to just
I'll
take 40 and you want to take 38?
Billy still needs to
Dude!
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. I was just trying to
You can get 8.
speed it along.
I'm at 2/3 at this point, so
I'm still at 40%.
Okay, you can take the 40, I'll take 30, and then collectively we will be at 2/3
Yeah, there we go.
all together.
Democracy. So you all create a healthcare system and collectively bargain yourselves down in some cases to 2/3.
Hey!
By milking Minka for spell slots.
That's how it works.
We
It's
are
trickle
down
down
to our
economics.
biggest heals and our smallest heals. Don't die anytime soon, please.
Guys, we can just tell Hearsome that we need to rest.
And sure
Yeah, I
enough, in this moment, after you go back and forth a little bit on the healing, Hearsome enters. You can see Hearsome turns, looks at all of you, and says, "Wandering Hearts, congratulations on defeating Xoros and closing some sort of portal, I heard. Are you ready to move on?"
Hearsome, we need to rest.
Very well.
Yes.
For how long?
I need a solid 8 hours, I'm afraid.
There was a lot of combat in the Aussenloch.
Very well. Mortals are fragile, and we cannot lose you yet.
Nice.
But once we are done with this rest, you should move along promptly. We need to secure the house.
Okay. Crispy, you mind if we go grab some beds?
My home is your home. You know that.
You're the
That's
best,
so nice.
Crispy.
I am. Thank you for recognizing the truth of this situation.
Crispy, if I gave you some gold, would you be able to pick up some reagents for us?
Yes, I can exchange gold for goods and services.
Excellent. I know I'm out of. Well, I'm almost out of diamond. You wanted diamond. You needed chalk.
I need, chalks encrusted with jewels.
Basically, Minka will write out a list of things of reagents, and then we will figure out after stream what we're going to request
Okay,
from him.
sure, no
That
problem.
way we don't take up a bunch of time.
We don't need a shopping episode, we just need someone to Uber Eats us stuff.
Yeah.
No problem.
I will also.
Something
Minka will also gladly tip Crispy.
Excellent. Yeah, you can definitely check it off in the app.
Damn, I was hoping to visit stabby stew again.
You still can. You need 4 less hours. You and Ori have 4 hours of time to kill Emerald's Fire.
It'll take you 2 hours to get to Stabby's too. So
6 seconds to get stabbed.
Yeah.
Get right back.
and then as long as you bonus action dash, you should be able to get back with no problem. So yeah. Cast Windwalk specifically so that you can run to a specifically sketchy part of the city and get shanked once and then run back.
Get good deals and then go back. He didn't stab us.
Phenomenal. So you request this rest. Hearsome says, yeah, sure, no problem. Reminds you again that there is promptness that is needed to regain this house. But Crispy says, you can all stay. You write out this list. And Crispy says, all right, well, I'll get on this right away. Help yourself to whatever you want while I'm gone. And they hop off and just
Thank you, Christy.
out the door. What are you saying to them?
I'll find it.
Okay.
I want to go find my sister.
There's only so many rooms she could be in.
Yeah, it's not a huge establishment.
Yeah.
So you make your way up the stairs to go and find your sister. For the rest of you, you have a little bit of time to relax and to rest. And in fact, having defeated Xoros Echre, having conquered the Aussenloch, you would imagine that when you wake up, you will be a little stronger than you were before.
And we're long resting. Do not fuck this up for us.
When we come back next week, we will start with the Trancers.
I'm going to sneak out
who
the
are
window.
very much awake for at least 4 more hours. Then we will finish this long rest, perhaps, depending on what else you do.
I swear to God, Billy, I'm going to tie you to the bed so that you don't.
I am tired.
They were roommates. Happy Pride, everybody. It is wild out there, so we will see you next week. If you can't wait that long, join us tomorrow at noon for a little bit of a different sort of adventure played at level 11 with Lethe, one of the Wheel of the Year series run by Tina. Some of us will be there, but whatever you do, please stay safe. It is wild out there. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.